much.
And here we are. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're going. And it should be going to the right place.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're going to find out.
oh,
hey!
And there we go. We
are
are broadcasting and there are people here. Hello, Celeste. How you doing?
Please tell us so we're not just like screaming to an empty room.
Well, yeah, considering we got in here a little bit later than intended.
Yeah, my bad, guys. Slept through the alarms. So, yeah, but we're here. It's happening.
We are here.
Well, you know, I guess one person's here.
It's just you, me, and Celeste.
Like, hey.
That's Kanda.
That's Kanda. So, yeah, this
why do you keep doing that?
Kanda?
She says Candela. So
Candela. Oh, Kanda. Okay. See, now I get it.
Now?
Yes. I get it again. I probably got it before and forgot. Hey, Ben. And Gabby, Musa Hazen.
How you doing?
All right, thank you.
That's good to know that we have a few people here because we weren't sure how this was all going to work out.
So, yeah.
So, essentially, we want to do these live streams with a little bit more structure now. Dude, what are you doing?
I'm trying to get you more in the frame.
It's like this.
Well, help me. Help me, damn it.
I was fine until you started moving it.
All right.
Yeah. Want to have a bit more structure because there's like things that we wanted to discuss specifically, and then have room for you guys to throw in your 2 cents too, but in a structured way, so it's not like a mess of conversation.
And it doesn't just drag on for 3+ hours or so.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep these specific, like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're gonna have a bit of a cap on it. Think more like a podcast, I guess.
Radio show.
Yeah, radio
That's
show.
kind of why I like the radio show analogy, because they would do that. They'd have specific sections to talk about and the specific sections to talk to the audience and get opinions. And
yeah, we just need a jingle for the intro, like Sam and Steph in the morning.
Fuck yeah, we'll just still try in our best.
Yeah, we'll just steal that. It's fine. It's fine. What does it matter?
Yeah. So overall, we are doing quite well.
Yeah,
pretty well.
It's going all right.
Yeah.
In terms of getting ahead and like recording,
starting to get there.
Yeah, we're kind of crushing it.
Kind of.
kind of fucking crushing it, guys. It's been a bit fucking. We're kind of a pair of savages, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Main channel under the community tab. Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
I mean, it's a thought process, but I'm not, like, how would I put this? I want this to be something that can exist outside of the Movie Buds channel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So obviously, you guys right now are coming over from the Movie Buds channel, because, you know, no one else knows who we are. But we wanted to move forward in a way that it's somewhat of a separate thing. Yeah,
this is less of a second channel and more of an expansion.
Yeah,
into new territory.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a second channel, really.
No, I mean, sure. Yeah,
because it's supposed to be a different idea. I don't want it to be like you have to be a fan of our main channel in order to enjoy our live stream.
But yeah, 100%. That's what I meant, though. It's kind of separate.
Exactly.
It's its own thing.
Yeah. So starting out, we were looking at kind of modern feminine roles throughout Hollywood over the last 20 years, really, because like we were looking at the strong modern female like warrior type of character that's coming up in all of these action and superhero movies, and how they kind of all they become very one-dimensional after like one movie.
A bit cookie cutter.
Yeah, I think if you look at some of them in a vacuum, like Captain Marvel was heavily maligned for its characterization of the character.
Oh, hold on a second. We got like 20-minute segments on this, yes? Well, we gotta just like keep them up to date with that. And it's like, just so you know, guys.
Oh, you wanna? Okay.
Well, because I'm gonna put it onto the screen.
Yeah.
Just so you know, guys, we're gonna do essentially like a little 20-minute bit where we talk about the concept and what we want to discuss today, and then we're gonna have like 10 minutes where you guys can throw in your questions, your little, just
make them specific to what we're talking about.
Just so we keep it a little more streamlined. It's going to be pretty different to the other ones. It's not just really going to be like this free flowing, jumping back and forth whenever we feel like it. It's really going to be.
Hold up, are we not on our live channel right now?
Huh? Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking in the comments.
No. Candace said that it was going to the right. It was going to the right place.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Like as I'm like, yeah, we'll get into the questions from you guys near the end, and then this is Maria has. I feel like TV shows do female characters mostly better than movies, and that's something I actually did want to discuss because I agree.
That is a great question, but yeah, I'd love to say that's why I wanted to just let you guys keep you guys in the loop. Like we're gonna do questions as a separate thing for 10 minutes after the 20-minute segment where we just like
it's not even really questions. It's more just like whatever
questions,
discussions
comments,
you want to put in.
Whatever you want to add to the.
Well, because if you frame it like that, I'm like I don't want it to be questions. It's not personal questions. It's not about the channel.
Oh no! I'm being about the topic we're talking about.
Well, it's more just whatever. Points you want
comments.
To make.
What
part of the discussion?
Your input. Actually, I probably should have renamed it to just input or something, but too late now.
It is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, segment 1 begins now. The female Hollywood badass.
Yeah, and that's literally, every I feel female action hero at this point is the same person, kind of.
Yeah. There's a bit of there's definitely some recurring ideas.
Some homogenization.
Yeah.
And like it really is, and I have to give credit to another creator called Nutsa. Nutsa for this one.
Is that video?
Yeah, just the idea that basically a lot of these female action heroes today are basically just what the men were like 30 years ago.
Yeah,
30 years ago in the 90s essentially.
Yeah, and I don't want anyone to think that we're kind of like shitting on these characters or shitting on, like female like creators and directors like Patty Jenkins and stuff who try to create like good multifaceted characters. It's mainly like studios kind of shoving their hands into the cookie jar and fucking everything up.
I would say half of it's that case.
It's like you only need so much influence from it to restrict it to a degree that's very noticeable.
Yeah. And I would say that's in some ways the difference between Wonder Woman 1 and 2, whether it is with 2. I feel like there was just a little bit less characterization.
Oh, 100%.
It's still there, and it's carrying over a lot from the first movie, but we get less personality.
It felt a lot like a spin-off. It felt very much like a different studio had handled the entire project.
Yeah.
I've got a little running theory that they did the first Wonder Woman. It was really successful. They're like, oh shit, okay, this is a serious project.
She's a pretty multifaceted character in the first one.
If anything, maybe the like less attention it got from the studio was a good thing because I feel like
they didn't get too involved because they're like, this is probably gonna flop.
Yeah, exactly. But then it got really successful, and they were like, oh shit, no guys, we need to take a more hands-on approach with this. Patty Jenkins just sweating in the corner, like, oh no.
Yeah.
And yeah, they pretty much, I feel like the concept that they went for in 1984 was interesting, but I get the feeling that they just saw Shazam do really well.
They saw a gimmick.
And they were like, oh, okay, that's what we'll go with for this one too. Even though tonally it is just so different from the first one that it's really jarring.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of weird to see the same character try to work in this completely different setting because it's like, no, this feels like it's for a character like Shazam, not a character like Wonder Woman, who's a bit more grounded, a little more serious. Like the concepts they were tackling were, definitely more like emotionally loaded.
Yeah.
Whereas so like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
So what's going on? Huh?
I think it helps if you're already a big fan of 80s movies because it really is just that.
Yeah.
And it would have, I think, worked a little bit better in a TV format where you could sort of specify that this is like an out of context idea. You know how TV shows, like let's say a TV show that does, we're going back in time 20, 30 years ago or whatever, and then they structure that episode like it's an episode from the 80s, but that's not necessarily indicative of the overall style.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have worked better in that kind of context. And I really enjoyed it because I'm a huge fan of 80s movies.
Yeah, I did not. I kind of really did not. And I think a lot
of people really didn't like it.
Agreed with that. But that's kind of like one of the points I wanted to bring up. Is just studios will meddle in these movies or put their 2 cents in, and kind of stifle the character, go with an angle that's kind of questionable, and then the concept of female superhero or action movies gets blamed. It's like, oh, that's why it didn't work because it's got a woman as a main character. I guess people just don't want to see that these days. It's like, no, they do. Just do it right.
Do it better. Yeah.
Just let fucking let women write the roles for one.
That helps, but that's not always the saving grace.
No, but you know,
Right,
it's
unfortunately.
it's a pretty common one.
It is a common one.
Yeah, it's like even with Captain Marvel, it was like, oh yeah, they clearly wanted to do the Marvel equivalent of Wonder Woman, and they very clearly course corrected where they were like, oh yeah, we've got Black Widow, and we're not going to give her a solo movie
Until she's dead.
Until she's dead, and even then, I don't even know if that was in the discussion at the time.
Literally, we'll give you a movie when you're dead.
Oh man, they did. They did her so dirty, and I'm very upset.
It's unfortunate, yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Wonder Woman came out, and they course corrected massively, but they were like, shit. Who do we have to work with that we can do a solo movie for? Black Widow, she's kind of a morally grey character. She's not really a superhero in the same vein that
She's
Wonder
a vigilante.
Woman is. Yeah. Wanda Maximoff, we can't even get the rights to the fucking character's name.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch.
They can't call her Scarlet Witch.
We can't call her Scarlet Witch. So
Yeah.
that doesn't work.
It's very unfortunate.
Okay, Captain Marvel, she's like, our version of Superman. That'll work. And it's like, oh yeah, cool, awesome, let's do that. But we better have some some male producers in there just to oversee the whole thing.
Yeah.
Let's make sure it's not like too much of a character. We want to play it safe, guys.
Well, they wanted to make Captain Marvel safe for men and women to watch. But unfortunately, I think you try to toe that middle ground line,
just piss off everyone.
Yeah, because the dudes are like, oh, I don't want this fucking female hero, and then the women are like, but I want a female hero that's representative of who like women actually are. And are there tough, stoic, badass women who don't show a lot of personality? Yes, but are every single women out there, like, are you all the same?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Doubt it.
And that's kind of the problem with Captain Marvel is that, like, I think in a vacuum by itself, it's not that bad, and the movie itself is pretty solid.
Yeah.
But then when you look at Captain Marvel, the character, versus a lot of other female action heroes, whether it be like sci-fi or superheroes, kind of the same thing. But you know what I mean, or fantasy or whatever, they end up kind of just being all the same 90s action hero.
Yeah, exactly.
The stoic badass who is never emotionally affected by anything.
Yeah, and it's not because that's the only thing they've got to go by. It's not like
they're trying to play it safe.
They are just being like, no, we know this works, so we don't want to toe too far out of it. And I want to say, for the record, Captain Marvel, to me, I went into it with such low expectations. So many people had told me it was so bad. They told me it was bad. In my opinion, it is one of the better Marvel movies. I actually would put it as
the movie itself,
highest mid tier, if not lower, upper tier, the kind of the lower end of the best, or the upper end of the mediocre, the middle ground one.
Sure.
And it was so much better than what I was expecting.
Yeah, because you had such terrible expectations going in,
and because I was expecting zero characterization. I was expecting people that said, "Oh, she's emotionless, she's flat, Brie Larson totally fucked it, it's no good." And then all I had to go on was Endgame Captain Marvel, in which they pulled her character back even more because they filmed some of her parts before they even finished filming Captain Marvel. So they were like, ooh, we can't really give her a personality because that might contradict what we do in Captain Marvel.
I kind of disagree with that.
There's some story to it.
I feel like that's an excuse because, realistically, they showed you so little of her in that movie.
Dude,
they could have done shitloads.
It's 100% an excuse. That's also part of the reason why she featured in it so little. Because they had written themselves into a corner where they were like, oh, we can't give her too much of a personality. But also, she's going to be, the strongest Avenger. Wait, so why doesn't she take the Infinity Gauntlet to kill Thanos again?
That is a big question.
Don't worry about it, man.
Forget about it. It's fine.
Forget about it.
Yeah,
that was 100% one of the better ones that I saw, and you can definitely see that they had an idea for a character for a character that's snarky kind of Top Gun sort of chick, she's a woman in the 80s trying to be a fighter pilot and dealing with waves of misogyny. Sure, that's an angle, that's a story, but then I feel like the story structure kind of fucked that because you started with memory erased, doesn't know who she is, Captain Marvel. Yeah. Whereas I feel like they should have started in the 80s where she's human, and then had her lose her memories like
Sure, you
at
can
the,
have it that way.
yeah, at the end of the first part of the movie.
Yeah.
So you see her personality in full force.
But you don't necessarily need that to make that happen, because you can go with the idea of exactly what they did, where she's had her memory wiped and she doesn't really know who she is, and she doesn't show much of who she is because of that.
Yeah.
But once she gets her memories back, there's not like much of a change.
Yeah. No, there really isn't.
She's kind of the same.
Yeah.
She's like unaffected by all of this trauma, and it's like, well, trauma's kind of it affects you though.
Yeah, she kind of tears up for a minute, and then her friend gives her a pep talk. And that was part of the problem is it's talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's telling and not showing.
Yeah.
The problem with the way that they set it up was that it was like, oh, okay, we're just going to be told about what you're like. And
she has all of this other personality, but we're not going to show it. Yeah,
we're just going to tell you about it. We will assure you that it's there without actually showing you.
Yeah.
And that was I think the studio's bright idea to be like, yeah, this is how we can play both sides,
Maybe.
We can have a character but just not actually show it.
Yeah.
We can just tell them about it.
Well, because you get that in the flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the flashbacks are so
minimal.
They're so minimal. They're so brief, and you do see this vibrant personality.
Yeah. She's multifaceted, sure.
But then the rest of the time, it's like very kind of restrained, and it might I was expecting so little that I was like, man, this is great. She's awesome. I love it. She's super funny. She made me laugh.
Yeah.
I was told like, oh, she doesn't laugh, man. She doesn't laugh. She doesn't smile.
Yeah,
She's fucking lame.
Who said that?
Like a lot of comments and shit. And mind you, I did take a lot of them with like a pound of salt.
Yeah.
Because I was like, angry dudes.
Yeah.
But I was even told by some friends that they were like, yeah, like she just wasn't like super expressive. It was just kind of she was a little bit like stone faced the whole way through. But then the first thing she did was crack a joke and make me laugh, and I was like, oh, okay, this is way better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, so I definitely think for you being so heavily undersold on what it was going into it has affected things.
Oh, 100%.
For sure.
100%.
Because again, for me, I agree with those points, but I had to search for that.
Yeah.
I had to be like, okay, let's look for these moments where there's more of her personality, because it's there. It's there. It's just not...
It's just towing the line.
It's kind of just like they will show you, oh, she has personality, but we're only going to show you glimpses of it.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's disappointing, because again, it's not that it's not there.
Yeah. And that even ties into the relationship thing.
Yeah, well, they didn't lean into it. Look, let's be real. The reason they didn't just go full whole hog and be like, yeah, she's gay, and she has this I guess stepchild with Monica. Yeah. Maria's the mom.
Yeah,
Monica's the daughter.
Monica's the daughter.
Right, and I feel again, if they'd done either, she is definitely in this relationship romantically, or she's definitely just the best friend character.
Yeah.
Either way could have worked, but they really wanted to toe the line, and how much of that is going to be because China doesn't allow lesbians?
A few countries don't allow lesbians.
Sure, but China's the one that has the money.
Yeah, that's unfortunately true.
Yeah.
But also, let's not forget to give credit to our beloved, just homophobic studio execs who just don't want to see gay characters in their movies.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it.
100%.
And I mean, there are examples of ones that it's just overblown. Again, Wonder Woman was great. I feel like at least not many people had much to say about that because the first Wonder Woman was so good.
Yeah.
And then I think WandaVision was another great example of a female character who's
100%.
Multifaceted. She's a fucking person.
Yes.
You know
there is a character, there is a personality.
There's a lot of vulnerability.
There is an overarching narrative that even extends to the movies.
Yeah.
Each time you see her. But again, it's because she's a side character. They're okay with taking risks like that because
it's just a TV show.
She's not going to be on the poster, and this is going directly to Disney Plus. We're not going to show it on the big screens and shit. I did not get to watch Black Widow, so I don't know if they did the same thing in that or if they made her a bit more multifaceted and whatnot.
I feel like they did make her a little bit more multifaceted in the movie.
Yeah,
and again, by itself, wouldn't have been a big problem, but just the long history of her already being kind of an unfeeling badass through several of the other films, I don't think quite as much as some other characters.
Oh, yeah, no.
But it was still there to a degree, and again, it wouldn't be so bad if you didn't relate it to the other movies around it. It'd be quite understandable given her upbringing and background. But in relation
Yeah.
to every other version.
Mm.
You know, you're looking at Terminator Dark Fate, Mulan, and haven't seen Charlie's Angels, but I've heard that one was probably like the height of overcorrection.
The remake. Well, the remake of the remake. The 20 version.
2018, I think.
2018?
2019, maybe.
That one.
Yeah.
Not the ones that we did.
Yeah, like the most recent one, which again we haven't seen, but we've heard a lot about the overcorrection of it. And then I've seen just some of the snippets of Elizabeth Banks talking about her feelings behind it and all that kind of thing. And it does just sort of strike of overcorrection. However, and I want to make this very clear, I feel like one of the issues that some people, because the argument is either heavily for or against it, a lot of people are really angry.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of an issue because you're going to get overcorrection when you try for correction.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
matter what you do. If you're starting here and the fucking first step you take in correction ends up being over, then you've done the right thing because realistically you're not going to end up in the middle first go.
Yeah.
And these first 5, 10, 15 years or whatever, that's the first step.
Yeah.
It takes time.
You got to figure it out. And so, it's kind of like, man, cut them some slack.
Well, that's exactly what we're doing.
It really is just like
what I'm trying.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do on an individual level.
Yeah. It's
because I do
just
just enjoy all of these movies. We really are nitpicking.
No.
So it's like it is the current point. You know what I mean?
I don't want anyone to think that we don't like stoic female badasses.
Well, see, I
I'm
love
cool
stoic
with it
female
when it's done
badasses.
well, like any other character, even if it's a man, like whatever. Like as long as there's valid reason to it. Like it's super overplayed, but having a stoic badass like the Punisher, it's like, yeah, man, he watched his family like die in front of him, and he's super traumatized. So it's like it makes sense. It adds up.
Well, I wouldn't say that it doesn't make sense in any of these other examples.
But it's just oversaturated.
It's just that it's every single time.
Exactly. Yeah. It gets tired.
Yeah.
But because it gets tired, it gets less believable every time. It's like, okay, is everybody really going to process like this the exact same way? And I get that in like say Captain Marvel, the whole angle was they were trying to restrict her emotions. Her like held back reserve sort of thing can be seen as like a plot point that's like they're telling her like no
before the memory
hold back, but after the memories come back, it's more even that it's like you just don't get very much of it. Like you do have her showing a bit more personality, a bit more character in the like final scenes of the movie, but it's so short by comparison.
And then the fact that you have her performance sitting right next to Ben Mendelsohn as Talos
or Samuel.
Yeah, well, Samuel L. Jackson's character is good, but dude, tell me that Talos wasn't the star of that movie.
Talos stole that fucking show.
Like Ben Mendelsohn did such a good job.
Yeah, he actually did.
And like he had freedom. He was allowed to do that. But was Brie allowed to do that?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
No. And she's gay, right? So just like they have a child.
Well, again, if they fucking went with that.
And it was kind of like what you were saying earlier. It's like because they just were like they didn't. It was just. It's got to be either one or the other. Either they distinctly are just friends, and she's just a cool auntie who's helping to raise her friend's kid, or they're gay.
Yeah,
they're gay, and this is pretty much her adopted daughter.
Do one or the other.
One or the other, but they deliberately toe this line. They deliberately want to stay right in the safe zone in the middle, so you can be like, cool, this way we can appeal to as many people as possible while not satisfying anyone, really.
Yeah, basically, we're not going to piss off anybody, but then, of course, people aren't stupid.
We'll just leave you intrigued enough to come and watch the sequel.
Yeah. Yeah, assuming that they do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, and we've got another 2 minutes on there. Actually, you know what? I'm going to grab my coffee.
You going to grab your coffee?
I need it.
Did you not? Oh, that's right. You brought... Is that cold?
It's cold. It's chilled.
Do you want to heat it up?
No, it's actually nice.
Okay. Iced coffee.
Yeah, like lukewarm is not great, but if you have it just like chilled, like this has been sitting in the fridge all night, it's quite nice. Yeah, it's an iced coffee.
Sure.
Yeah, you know what? I know that breaking the rules a little bit, but I saw a couple people bringing up Jessica Jones. I saw people bringing up
Jessica
Harley
Jones,
Quinn.
especially the first season, was so fucking good.
I didn't see the second season, but yeah, like perfect example of...
It just degraded a little bit from season to season. I still liked the whole show.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But season 1, if you take away all of the superheroics, all of the comic book craziness, all the powers and stuff, it's really fucking accurate.
Right, yeah.
You know, like,
Okay.
just from my experience knowing people with extreme PTSD who have been through extreme situations, and it's like, not only can they corroborate to me in an individual conversation, oh yeah, it's like that, but also just seeing the behaviors
Yeah.
was very, very similar to me. Like, there were a lot of times watching season 1 Jessica Jones where I was just like, oh my god, that is too accurate.
Yeah. They did their homework.
They did a good job. Yeah, Kristen Ritter did an amazing job, I think, playing that character. And it's really too bad that
She's great.
you know, Marvel bought out the whole thing.
Yeah, and just
sorry, not
kneecapped-
Marvel. Disney bought Marvel and then sort of kneecapped those characters. And
Yeah.
I've heard they're bringing back Daredevil.
Okay.
I've heard they're bringing back what's his name, whoever played him.
Yeah.
As that version.
Right. Okay.
In a current future movie, so there's hope
Yeah.
that we're gonna get.
But we're never gonna get Jessica Jones on the big screen.
Maybe you don't know.
I think I doubt it, just because it is such a heavy.
It is a very traumatic sort of storyline.
Yeah, it's kind of like the kind of storyline that they would exclusively want to be in the TV universe, so that it's like, okay, no, we're not gonna like show this to kids and shit.
And you know what? I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, and that is a perfect example of a stoic badass character that is done well because she has more than just her stoicness.
But yeah, she's not just, and she's not even really stoic. She's traumatized. There's a difference.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like, there's still like kind of, it's kind of the same angle, but just done infinitely better. It's like, this is what a stoic badass should be, because the stoicness is a front for intense emotional trauma.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, so out of time on the segment, so we're
looking at the questions now, because I know a decent amount of you had your 2 cents, and this is exactly the point.
Yeah.
Charlie Cox, as Matt Murdock.
Cool.
That's exactly who we're talking about.
The Purple Man, Jesus Christ, David Tennant was so good.
He did a fucking fantastic job. I would have had so much trouble playing that role.
Yeah.
Just because of, I mean, you're being the abuser.
Yeah, like, holy shit. Kudos. So
props to him for managing to pull it off.
Kudos. That would just give me chills.
Yeah, if he still has his mental health coming out of that role, then fucking good for David.
Mm-hmm.
There's solid effort there.
Yep. All right, I think Diana here fucking nails it. I feel like since this trope is either male gaze based or feminist in a performative way, they really don't give the characters personality. They just copy and paste storylines. Yeah,
that's essentially
100%.
what we're going with. Yeah,
that's 100% that, and then you just have like some writers like Patty Jenkins and I can't remember who did Captain Marvel, but like creators and writers, a lot of the times women, trying to put in their 2 cents, trying to like push to make them a real character. So then you end up with this weird kind of mix.
This kind of weird in-between place,
Yeah, where it's like sometimes it's great, and then other times it's like, oh, this was lame.
Ryan Wilder on Batwoman. Yeah.
Okay.
Batwoman.
Didn't see Batwoman.
Yeah, you haven't seen it. I'm relatively up to date. I'm like maybe 2 or 3 episodes behind right now. But Batwoman is, I think it's a very good example of how to do it or why TV shows work better than movies. Because there are plenty of moments in Batwoman where it's like, oh, that's an overcorrection, or we didn't need to push so hard there. We get the message. It's okay. You don't have to say it. You can show it. That's cool.
Yeah.
However, because it's 3 seasons so far of a TV show, you get development. Even from Ruby Rose, she started developing more throughout that first season. And then going into season 2 and season 3, Ryan Wilder has so many moments of being a real person.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy that. And again, it's just the difference between movies and TV shows in a sense. Movies are going to be shown to way more people, so they have to be more careful, and they're way shorter, so they've got less room to work with in terms of what they're going to do with the character.
Yeah. It'd be that way. Whoa. I would better be angry lesbian cheat. Okay, I don't think you needed to put it like that. I'm going to skip that one. Birds of Prey had a lot of angry men comments. Yeah, of course it was. It was a fun movie.
Birds of Prey is one of the a very interesting example in this sense, where I don't think they did an amazing job with any of the characters or the story, but it was solid. I give the movie and the characters in general like a 7 out of 10 overall.
Yeah,
it's quite strong.
I would agree with that.
There are strong moments and there are weak moments.
I do agree with some point, but again, this is another one where the studio meddled.
Oh yeah, they definitely did. Yeah.
For one, the fucking Black Mask character.
Yeah.
He was supposed to have the whole Bertinelli, Diamond, and whatnot was just shoved into the storyline that didn't really need to be there.
Yeah.
They put it in replacement of having Black Mask and Zaz have a gay relationship, secret gay relationship, and like Black Mask was this insecure, closeted man who was doing these performative acts of violence to kind of help cover that up.
See, again, though, this is another one of those things that, as a solo example by itself, great. Do we want to see gay people have a wide array of personalities? Can gay people be villains? Absolutely. The problem is now, are there any gay men who aren't a villain?
Yeah, or at least heavily queer coded.
Yeah, or the ones
before anyone says no, there's barely any gay characters. I am kind of counting the queer coded ones.
The ones who were written as if they were gay.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no, shut the fuck up.
The Ryan Evans of the big movies.
Yeah, you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're doing that thing again where you're dangling the treat so that people come to watch it, but then you never actually give it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the Birds of Prey example, it would be fucking fantastic to have, the gay couple characters as the big evil villains if there were just gay characters who weren't.
Yeah.
Again, it's about the complexity. It's same. It doesn't matter if they're male or female or non-binary or whatever. When it comes to queer representation, as long as there's a spectrum, you can do the sickos. It's just how frequently are they a sicko?
Yeah, I know, right? Yep.
It just definitely gives the impression that the entirety of the gay community is full of sickos. And my experiences with the modern world is that most of the sickos are straight white men.
Yeah. Well, we can't talk about that.
Oh, no.
We can't talk about that.
Yeah. God forbid.
No. Terrorists aren't white. Those are lone wolves.
Oh, yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
But literally with Birds of Prey, I would say I loved everything I saw in each of the characters. I just wanted more.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm like, no, this should have been a Harley Quinn solo movie about her getting over the Joker.
Yeah.
And then we should have had a Huntress solo movie. We could have had a Black Canary
to be
solo
fair,
movie.
you know that's not happening.
Never gonna happen, but that's what I would have wanted to see from each. I got just a little taste of the character's potential, and I was like, man, each of these should have had their own movie.
Maybe not even necessarily each, because I wouldn't say that they fully successfully did that with the Avengers, but you just need solo movies for some.
Yeah, exactly.
For some of them. And going into Birds of Prey, if they'd called it just Harley Quinn, that would have been solid, because, again, one of the big complaints that a lot of people had was just the fact that it's not really Birds of Prey, and that's accurate.
Yeah, no, it's
not enough to get upset over.
No,
you know what I mean?
so much. I
think they heavily capped Black Canary. She wasn't really Black Canary. She's just a character who, at one point, displayed some of that ability, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then there's the Cassandra Cain character, who's not Cassandra at all.
It's not Cassandra Cain.
Yeah.
All right, actually, I'm going to scroll back, look at some more. It's like that bad boy, bad girl stoic character like Sasuke and the like. So don't like those kind of characters. Good luck with Namor. Ooh, good point, Serenity. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, and you're right. You're absolutely right. It does also pertain to men too, where they completely dick it up, and they're just like, there could be emotional depth to this guy, but what if he was just super cool instead? What if watching your loved ones die in front of you just made you fucking awesome? What if it just made you a fucking total badass with no downsides whatsoever? Or we just kind of skirt around that a little bit? Yeah. This is the one who dropped her.
I don't think that there was Taurus. I didn't think that there was any problems with the comment. You got to remember, this is in text. You can't understand what their context is.
I know, but even so, I don't like people tossing around the angry lesbian trope.
Well, yeah, just the fact that it's one of the few tropes that gets...
I think just pick your words a little more carefully.
Okay. Here, hang on. As a writer, I try to stay away from strong female characters. I try to make them strong in a feminine or smart way. Yeah. So I guess that's essentially one of the things we're talking about, Jade, where it's the defeminization of feminist characters.
Yeah. And mind you, there's nothing wrong with unfeminine
yeah,
female characters.
Exactly.
All good.
In a solo example, it's like, should there be characters like that? Yes.
Yes.
But why are they all like that?
Yeah, there's got to be range. Fucking Black Panther was a really good example of, like, in the one movie, Marvel had more range between its female characters in terms of personality and character than they had in, like, their entire fucking movie run.
Sorry?
But, like, between Shuri, Okoye, and... Damn it, I can't remember the third one's name. But yeah, the female characters had more range between themselves in that one movie than in pretty much probably in the entire run of Marvel movies.
Up until that point.
You know, up until that point.
Yeah.
I was like, holy
even
crap.
up until now, because realistically, the example I'm thinking of is Wanda, but in mostly her own show, not so much in the movies.
Yeah, no, they
because you don't get a lot of her in the movies.
Again,
She's there, but
they teased it.
only so much.
And I will give them a pass for that one because, like, copyright problems, where it's like, okay, we can't really dive too hard into the character because, you know, we don't own it technically.
Yeah.
But some things I will say where they held back where they didn't freaking need to was like just Wanda and Pietro like not being Jewish. They're Sokovian now. Like Magneto was brought up. Magneto went to the Nazi death camps. This was like this is a major part of their family history. You didn't have to have Magneto there, but you could have had it. But no, we're gonna go with Sokovian. We're gonna make up a nation so that way we can touch on these.
Well, that
like,
nation was already there in the comics.
Yeah, it was in there in the comics. But
what you're saying is that they kind of just glossed over the fact that they're Jewish. And I feel like they didn't necessarily take it away. They just made it not a thing. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
They could still be.
But
they have to do that.
Yeah, they didn't go for it. All right, so we're gonna go. So we're just gonna start
Segment
talking
2.
about it again. Round 2, guys.
The second part of this I wanted to talk about was just the way. Hang on, let's just look at.
Taurus. Yeah. I'm not misogynist. I'm an equalist. However, I don't ask for equality. I display and encourage those actions.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And I agree with that. And this is again one of those things where I don't want to get headline range seeing any of like the comments because like context.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You can't hear the way they're saying.
I know, and that's why I said just pick your words carefully because again,
we have to read things properly.
Well, but again, because you can't guarantee that I'm going to read it properly.
Well, let me do
That's
it
just
then.
what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, one thing I did want to talk about is the idea in a lot of these characters where they have to kind of be solo.
Yeah.
They can't have romantic relationships anymore because relying on a man makes you weak.
Yeah.
Like, man, I rely on the females in my life.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I rely on the...
Human beings rely on each other.
Yeah,
it's
you rely
okay.
on the people in your life. And so, inevitably, someone's probably going to be a woman. At least one. Well, if you don't have any women in your life, it's kind of a little bit concerning because most of the guys I meet who don't have any... like, you know, healthy connections with women tend to be a bit shit.
Well, and then another issue there is you'll get a lot of guys who it's like the only female connection they have in their life is like their tense relationship with their mom and their somewhat held back or restrained relationship with their girlfriend. And it's like, just because you had a girlfriend for 5, 6, 7 years doesn't mean you understand it because you're clearly not fucking paying attention.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like the amount of male friends I've had where like their girlfriend will approach me at a time when usually drunk and then just start talking to me like, why is he like this? Why is he like that? And I'm like, there's a lot of reasons.
And then 2 months later, he comes to you and it's like, man, she broke up with me. I don't know what I did. She's fucking crazy, bro.
Bro, I wish it was 2 months.
Oh, no.
More often than not, it's like 6 months or a year or never.
Yeah.
And it's more just like every now and then we'll be out drinking or whatever and the girlfriend will pull me aside like, why doesn't he ever improve?
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah. But
there's a lot of reasons for that.
But yeah, back to that. Yeah, that trope in Hollywood and stuff. Again, it's just like it's a course correction that has gone on too long. Where it was just like, oh crap. Okay, so we used to have it that women could had to have a relationship.
Yeah,
in
they
any
had to
kind of
be
portrayal. They had to be romantically involved.
That's the only
somewhere
reason
or
they're
another.
there.
Yeah.
So-
What else are they doing?
But now we've overcorrected where it's
Yeah.
like they can't have relationships at all.
They just think like this is the correct way to portray women, guys, as like independent single men.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like if you want to have a strong female lead, she has to be a lone wolf alpha.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like, and it's weird because like the alpha is supposed to be like the leader of others, but then they're tying it into this weird '90s action hero toxic idea of just like solo. Doesn't express anything, doesn't form relationships. Even their closest friends aren't that close.
Yeah, and fucking what? Fucking literally Captain Marvel. Yeah, she's damn right. She's not that close. You don't remember her.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, by itself, that could have been a fine storyline, but they didn't really just do it enough.
No, they really didn't. And yeah, it's even with with Wanda. I mean, I get that this was the whole premise of the show, and it worked, and it's great. But I just want to see more range, where it's like, does she have a boyfriend? Does she have a significant other? Like Vision, and Vision's relationship, super famous in the comics. Yeah, we're gonna kill him.
Yeah,
he's gonna be dead.
And not only that, they didn't develop their relationship; they just were in it.
Yeah, they were there in the movies. A little bit, and then he fucking died, and then it's like, oh, now we can focus on one.
No, not even that. I mean the fact that they didn't develop their relationship. They were just two fucking characters, and then, hey guys, we all know they're together, so we'll just, hey, they're together now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like what 5-10 minutes of them they're just suddenly together. There's no development of their relationship, and then and then
retroactively.
Yeah, and honestly, that moment in was it Infinity War where he dies. Not even like nearly as emotionally impactful, at least to me, as it could have been, just because they barely set him up as a real person. Not that they didn't, just not enough.
Yeah.
And they barely set up their relationship, where it's like I didn't really feel her pain in that moment.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
I knew in theory that this was a very heartbreaking scene because you're watching someone literally kill the love of their life. Like, and I could relate to that. And I was like, holy shit, if I had to do this, I would be fucked up forever.
Yeah, and you know what? I think
no coming back.
The only way it really it works emotionally is if you already have that. You're just imprinting on the character. It's not them. It's you.
Yeah, precisely. And that's kind of the problem. If I have to do the heavy lifting emotionally, if you're not just getting everyone in the cinema to feel that, whether or not they've ever had a significant other, then you fucked up. Yeah. Sorry, man. And it does tie back in this thing of like, no, but we can't actually have them in a relationship.
They can't be too vulnerable.
And it's this stupid thing of like, oh, they've got to be strong or vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's like they can be both.
But also strength comes from vulnerability.
And yeah, exactly.
You know what true strength is? Showing that you're vulnerable.
True, it's kind of the bravery is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to confront it. You have to be scared in order to be brave. You cannot have bravery without fear. And so it's kind of like, you can't have real strength without some degree of pain or vulnerability. You know, it's like, no, it just doesn't work that way. You're just playing it on easy mode then.
Yeah.
If you're never weak, then are you really strong?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so just quickly, I noticed one thing here from This Is Maria saying, with a strong solo woman without emotions is also a direct result of toxic masculinity, because women really don't work that way. This is exactly what I was saying before when I was saying that the modern female action hero is really just the 90s male action hero.
Yeah.
And it's like throughout the 2000s, men started to become more diverse. There's more different versions of different characters. I would argue that the reason Tom Holland's Spider-Man works better than the first two is because you have a more fully fleshed out human being.
Yeah, you do.
You know?
And what's more, you have a distinct angle. There is an idea that they're running with, whereas the first one was, Tobey Maguire's was kind of just this broad everyman.
Yeah, the broad everyman nerd.
Yeah, the broad everyman nerd that, it's like, oh, everyone can relate to this on some level or another. Even if you weren't...
Every nerd can relate to this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that everyone has felt maybe like a bit awkward, a bit weird, like a lot of people. Definitely not you.
No, for me, absolutely. But like, I know plenty of guys who actually are just that confident. And in some cases, it's misplaced.
Sounds like fake news.
No, but like, The reality though is that that amount of confidence from some of these guys, when I say misplaced, is because they just haven't spent enough time thinking about the reasons why they wouldn't be confident.
Yeah.
It's not that they're actually super secure. It's just that they haven't delved into the insecurities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there are examples where that works for a small subset of people who really are actually just pretty good. They just don't think too much about the bad things. They don't ignore them. They just don't think too much about them.
Yeah.
However, the majority of people seeing that person in either real life or on the screen are basically just going to take away the external idea, the surface idea of, oh, they just don't feel things. They're just not heavily affected by things. And it's like, well, it's a bit more complicated than that.
Yeah, a little more nuanced.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, like, Tobey Maguire is like kind of like every man nerd, and then they kind of went almost the exact opposite
with Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield, where they're like an everyman cool guy.
Yeah, well,
you know? Like,
he's the cool nerd.
Kid, you know?
He's the modern nerd.
Yeah, the modern nerd.
Super cool.
The one that's hot, you know? The time we realized that, like, hey, nerds are hot. Like, let's do that.
Yeah.
And maybe he can skateboard too.
Yeah.
For some reason. But yeah, with Tom Holland, it's like, no. There's an angle here.
He's a bit of both, and he's multifaceted.
Yeah, you can't slap every single nerd trope onto him because not all of them are going to fit. You know, because it's just like, no, like, okay, if you're like, oh, but what if we made him kind of toxic, like, what's his name? Oh, shit. Ross from Friends.
Oh, God.
It's like, no, that doesn't work.
Fucking Ross.
He's way too sweet. Like, it's like Tom Holland Spider-Man is way too much of a sweetheart to do anything like that. You can't just throw whatever you want onto him. There's a distinct idea that we're running with. And you see the same with Tony Stark. You see the same with Bruce Banner. It's like there are parameters to their character that you have to work with. And it's like, yeah, we're just not quite there yet with female characters where it's kind of like, oh, no, we'll just make her like, yeah, again, stoic and badass. So that way we can add and subtract whatever character traits we want or need according to the project that she's in.
Yeah.
You know?
I will say, I feel like, unfortunately, like as much as we are having criticisms about this, we still love this whole area. Like, I'm not going to stop watching female-led movies just because some of the characters have overcorrected.
Yeah.
To me, that's a natural point of where it has to be. You can't come from a place of like one extreme and then end up right in the healthy balance middle straight away. You kind of have to course correct and then go back and forth and until you find it sort of like just balance out in the middle.
It's a pendulum.
Yeah,
like
the problem, of course, is that because this discussion we're having right now about the overly strong, untouchable female character, while it's accurate and I think it's valid criticism, I think a lot of people get too much into it, and then it's like, well, no, we'd rather just go back to how it was before.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, hold on. No. I agree that it's an overcorrection, but we don't get to the middle without overcorrecting and then going back a bit. And I think it'll take just a little bit of time to get to that point of middle ground.
And honestly, it's like, yeah, to all the fucking angry nerds in the comments, it's really like, guys, can you just give him a fucking chance?
Give him
some time. Like, the people who like felt the need to sound off and have their hot take, where they're like, man, Black Panther actually wasn't that great. You guys need to get over it. It's like, dude, you might even be right, but like, it's the first one. It's the first instance of a black superhero movie. And even with like Birds of Prey, people will be like, man, it wasn't that great. It was kind of shit. Like, okay, even if you have valid criticisms, just give them some time.
Well, in this case,
this is new territory here. Like, fuck, let them find their footing. All right, it's going to take some time. It's going to take studio executives being kind of coaxed into some more like risky territory before they stop just doing this shit, but they just slap tropes onto it and pray that they work.
Until they stop blaming the failure of a female-led movie on the fact that it's female-led.
Exactly. Yeah. Because they're kind of doing the same thing. They're saying like, oh man, like this movie Birds of Prey was terrible because Harley Quinn's a bad character. Like, no.
No.
Yeah. And like, what the hell kind of take is that?
Birds of Prey, I think, more so than any of these other films, copped the most undue criticism, and it's not so much that the criticisms around it weren't valid. Some of them were, in the idea that it wasn't really Birds of Prey and. The story itself, the movie itself, could have been a little bit better structured and written.
Yeah.
Absolutely. However, again, it's like I was saying before, I would put it like a solid 7 out of 10 as a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not like an amazing fucking work of art film, but it's a solid action movie, and it's quite a bit higher than a lot of other movies that didn't cop quite the same amount of criticism. Like the first 2 Thors.
Yeah.
Are they okay? Yeah, they're decent.
Yeah, no.
Are they good? No.
Dude, that's exactly what pisses me off. That like Birds of Prey cops all this hate, but there is a slew of action movies, of male-led action movies, or way
mediocre
way worse than it. That are regarded as like, oh, this is actually a classic.
Yeah,
like this is really good if you think about it. And it's like, no, but you couldn't apply that level of critical thinking to Birds of Prey. You couldn't apply that same. Yeah, I know it's kind of silly, but I like it anyway. To that, like, no, we're gonna have an exception for that one. And it's the same even with like Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel to me is better than the first 2 Thor movies, the first Captain America movie,
the second and third Iron Man,
the second and third Iron Man. So in terms of the fucking like big 3 of Marvel, it was better than
a decent portion of those movies.
The majority of them, and still it's regarded as like, oh, this was like really a low point in Marvel's history when they did Captain Marvel. And it's like, was it?
And
was it really?
Again, that's a sad thing because the movie itself, I think, was quite good. It was really just that we didn't get enough of the Captain Marvel character herself.
Yeah.
It's not even, and again, I pointed this out before, it's not that she was bad.
No.
We just didn't see enough of her.
It's kind of the same thing I had with Birds of Prey. I just wanted more. I was expecting nothing, so I was really happy with what I got. But yeah, I was expecting way more. And also, side note, all the complaints about the Skrulls and shit, because they weren't the bad guys, and that's how they are in the comics. Just shut the fuck up.
But also,
just actually shut up. It was good. It was
good, but B, you're showing a small segment of people.
Yeah,
like they kind of lent into the idea, and I wouldn't say lent in. They kind of made it seem a little bit like, well, this is the entirety of Skrull culture, but realistically, there's like a few hundred of them there.
Yeah.
They could easily just be refugees like from their own people.
Exactly.
As well as the Kree. And it's like, hey, we're just caught up in this war we don't even want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And that's realistic to actual wars, to actual refugees, where it's like, just because my government has done some stupid shit doesn't mean that I want to be involved in this.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like that was just another point that they used to just jump on the movie and try to like have all these complaints about shit that does not really matter.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, they can have an extremist Skrull later on who initiates the secret wars and does all that stuff, guys. It's just... It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine, guys. Just can we not?
That's not to me. Yeah, what they did with the Skrulls is not enough of a thing to be mad about.
No,
you know. Not. Again, if they'd made it like the entire Skrull Empire is actually just entirely refugees, that would be a problem because that's another issue when it comes to writing alien characters who are. They're all just one people.
Yeah.
Like alien characters that they never have diversity. Like Planet Earth is full of different races and cultures and sexes and gender identity and all that kind of stuff. But the alien culture, they're just one type of people, and usually they're. I hate to say this, but the amount of times they make the aliens just black.
Yeah, black or Asian, like Asian.
Quite often, and it's just like, well, can they not be like multiracial as well? Like human beings are multiracial. Why are the aliens only one race every time and they're never white?
I did appreciate that with the Kree.
Huh? With the Kree?
Yeah, that there's the blue ones, but then you've also got
they have the blue and the pink ones, and that's it.
Well, no,
there's two types.
No, they're I can't remember the actor's name, but he was in Guardians of the Galaxy as well. The same character. And yeah, he's black. He's black. He's black. And there's what? That's the one. Yeah. And there are a white Kree, and then the majority are blue Kree.
Yeah, the white Kree are considered pink.
Oh, pink.
They're supposed to actually be pink.
Huh.
And like more, like not human.
Okay.
Like,
that makes sense.
Pink.
That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of the comics, it was like the reason that they look human is like surgery to like help them like blend in some comic variations.
I don't know.
I know they did that in the Ultimate comics, but that is unfortunately a trope where they're like, they'll just go with coding them as like it's especially more common in older stuff. Like I think in Star Trek they had a entire race that was pretty much just like, oh, so they're Asian.
Mm.
So you've made this
Oh,
entire race just based on an Asian stereotype.
Well, George Lucas is
George Lucas.
pretty racist. From what I can tell. I mean, that's the big issue with the Phantom Menace. Is just like all of the aliens are just race coded.
Oh, so heavily.
Like in 1920s version of racial understanding.
Yeah.
And that's really tough. Like, I'm really glad that he didn't actually have nearly as much control over the original Star Wars trilogy as people seem to think, because he was going to make Jabba the Hutt just an American Irish gangster.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, so he's not even like an alien. He's literally just an Irish guy.
Yeah. Oh, and Watto?
Yeah, I don't even want to fucking talk about it.
We're not talking about
Oh my god. And yeah,
Um,
same thing with Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, Taurus. Sorry, I know I'm kind of breaking the rules here, but again, just caught my eye. Consider that maybe the dude bros are dissing the characters because the movie doesn't hold up. Not everything's about separatism.
That's not it. There are a lot of dudes who are dissing the characters for this reason, but realistically, it's like 10%
Yeah.
of the guys making the comments are making that argument. The amount of guys out there who are pretty much just mad that a man isn't leading the movie, and we can say this as guys who have fucking friends.
Dude. Are we gonna call them friends?
Less so these days.
Yeah, just
Less so these days.
I've been amongst it. I've been one of those guys.
I know.
Especially when I was
Absolutely.
younger. I was
Yeah.
a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know the thought process behind this criticism is really just, again, it's the "you will not replace us" thing. It's just you're mad that someone is standing in what you perceive to be your spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah.
Hang on. So, right. So the entire studio is male and white. No, that's not it. But
most of it is.
The people with the money.
Yes, exactly.
The producers.
Yeah.
The executives, like having the controlling stake in the decision making. Yeah. Absolutely, white males.
And you can really see that with how you see the idea, you see the outline of this great idea, but it's been watered down and kind of like tweaked and twisted in ways that makes it this kind of weird Frankenstein's monster of like, oh yeah, like there's some great parts here, but then we've just got just blatant 80s action hero tropes and not the good ones, not the good parts.
And also, Taurus, I gotta point out, we're not saying that the entire of everything. Like, I did sort of say that right then, and the most of the executives are, and that's, again, most. But throughout this entire sort of discussion, we've made it clear that that's not all. That we're not saying all of everything. It's not black and white and like that.
No,
like
it's definitely not.
We're talking about the commonalities.
Yeah.
The most.
We're talking about the patterns.
Yeah, the patterns.
Yeah, you got like you see a pattern showing, and it's like there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the expression? Once is accident, twice is coincidence,
three times
is
pattern. And that's exactly what 3 is.
When you notice that there is a pattern, you have to start identifying. Okay, but like, why does this keep happening in the like almost exact same way every time? And that's how you identify sociological problems. Like, oh, okay, it's probably racism. It's probably sexism.
Yeah, Taurus, I'm not really surprised that you only befriend guys. Like,
intentionally?
Like, dude, here's one thing I've noticed from having like large groups of just male or just female friends or just racial minorities or just straight white guys. I've been in like different groups of this, that, and the other because I'm somewhat of a social chameleon. But you really have to sort of just branch out, because realistically, if all your friends are just one type of person, then you're living in an echo chamber.
Yeah, you only get one perspective, and that's exactly what I was talking about with how I was when I was younger. I was only friends with dudes, so I just heard the same rhetoric from other angry 14-year-old boys.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course, my perception was, man, women have it easy, and guys are just getting shafted. It's just totally unfair.
Yeah.
It's like, of course, because that was my only experience. Because I never talked to a single fucking girl
Yeah,
outside of the context of trying to hook up with her.
Yeah, there are plenty of examples. Okay, she again. I think she's just trying to be part of the conversation. She's not being angry or
I know.
So I know that you're not like
I get you're not gonna like stop. You're not trying to start a fight or anything. And I know that you're projecting your voice towards the other comments as well.
Speaking of which, comments, people in the comment section, be kind to each other.
Be nice.
I want us to all be able to have complicated discussions and vastly different viewpoints without getting mad at each other. And I know it's so difficult in the comments to read something and you only hear it like how you feel at the time.
Yeah.
You don't know that other person. You don't know how they wrote what they wrote. And it is tough. Like you're inferring your own tone over somebody else's comment. So
Yeah.
be kind, be respectful. Try to understand each other to a degree, because the comment section is one of the most difficult things in the world to navigate.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why we don't often reply to the more complicated or nuanced comments in our video comment sections, is just because having that kind of detailed discussion with so many different people online when you don't know who they are, you've never seen their face, you've never heard their voice.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to say something a way that someone's going to take it a different way.
Yeah. We want to have an open discussion about this stuff. We don't want this is not a cancel culture friendly environment.
Yeah,
I don't want to just shut someone down and be like, oh no, but you're just this type of way, so get out. That just makes the problem worse.
Way worse. If you can't have a conversation with someone who is conservative when you're not, you're gonna have some issues. And I've got friends who I would consider kind of racist, kind of sexist, kind of homophobic, kind of a lot of things, very conservative. But if I couldn't have discussions with those, usually guys, but people overall, I think I would have a much more narrow point of view. And I don't want to be considered just like a leftist, because I don't even really believe in the idea of left and right politics.
Yeah, that's fair. And like I would say honestly that it's like if I was the type to shut down and just belittle someone for
we're not
having...
even like talking to the...
Oh, sorry, guys.
So let's just restart the 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yes. Yeah, you know what? I will. I will do
go
that.
to the bathroom and you read some of these comments.
Yeah. But I will say, like, if you just shut people down like that, I mean, then where would that have put me when I was a teenager if I hadn't have had the chance to fucking, like, get better, actually talk to some people, have them change my mind. All right, hold on a minute. I will restart it. We'll go again. Hold on, there we go. One more time, everybody, from the top. Okay. You got the red train bets. All right, from the girls. Yeah, look, I feel like I understand, the sentiment of only wanting to be friends with girls because, you're sick of, like, guys always trying to hit on you. But I just feel like, it's good to have a, what's the word? Diverse, group of voices in your life to help you see different perspectives. But I totally understand. All right, Diana. So most of these characters have only one trait, like being gay or female or not white is their whole personality. It's really not how minorities work. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And that's kind of what we're talking about here. That's like, it's not, especially in movies, like Captain Marvel and stuff. It's very performative. It's very, we're gonna do a feminist movie, and it's like that's not how it works. You're not gonna do a racially sensitive movie. It's not a trope. It's not a selling point. It's something that should just work its way into the story because it's a good story. Anything that has, in my opinion, anything that has good character development, that has good character writing, is inherently feminist or, fucking all woke, because it's just, oh my god, you portrayed women as like real people with a diverse range of emotions and personality traits. That's not a feminist thing. That's just good writing. At least that's what it should be.
The problem is obviously, did you read this one?
You can take that one.
Okay. The problem is obviously that the people in charge are white, male, and straight, so they think in a certain way and have tunnel vision, but the audience is way more diverse. That's largely true, because a lot of the people who, again, are the executives and producers, a lot of the people with the money making, like, the overarching decisions at the end, like, they are straight, white, old men.
Yeah. This is,
and not all the time. Obviously, there are examples of people behind the scenes who aren't that, but think about the amount of minorities who make it to the top.
Yeah. Oh, and then you've also got to consider that even when someone of a different...
Power cable.
Oh, yeah, sure. Even when someone of a different background gets to that position actually manages to get ahead, break through the glass ceiling, what have you, there is a pretty good chance that they've kind of been conditioned to an extent. They kind of bought into the bullshit, bought into the...
just accepted the reality.
Yeah.
That this is the best they can do.
Pretty much. And they kind of have to play the game a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, no, I cannot be a woman in this environment who is openly for other women. I kind of have to be one of the guys in order to get ahead, because all the people who are like above me are men. So they're not gonna greenlight me for this project, for this position, unless I align with some of their core beliefs. You know? You can see that even with model minorities. It's like, oh yeah, like, well, but like I know some black guys, and they're pretty cool. They're a bit more chill. They're not so obsessed with race, and it's oh, okay. Yeah, they're 100% just pandering to your racism because that's the only way that they can fucking exist around you.
And being a minority, I can absolutely say that that's the case, because the amount of times I've held my tongue around straight white guys just because, well, I don't want to get like the shit beaten out of me.
Yeah.
or potentially slightly less worse.
Celeste said next topic, Hollywood nepotism. And nepotism has a massive part in it.
That's something to consider.
You want to know how to guarantee that like just people who are like you end up exclusively in your industry? Hire your son.
That is something we can look into for a future one.
Yeah.
And yes, so hang on. So Serenity Adams, I believe, is the version of a podcast. Kind of, yeah. We want it to be somewhat podcast-like, but with the ability to still discuss ideas with you guys and not just be the two-person echo chamber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you guys plan on playing music at any point?
Hang on, what do you mean, in general?
Just on here.
I'm playing music at any point. That could be also...
Because, I know some podcasts
I think... define. Are you specifically mean just having music in the background of this, or do you mean us playing, like performing music? Because I feel like it's the second
playing
one.
Music. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, if you could just clarify.
Well, probably not, since I can't.
He physically is incapable right now.
Appreciate.
I don't know if they have a podcast. This is essentially our version.
Yeah, pretty much.
Again,
this is it. This is the podcast.
So it's entirely possible that we might cut these lives up into sections and then just post the sections after the fact, or we might leave them as a whole. We haven't decided fully on that one yet. We'll figure that one out.
Yeah, we're going to save the video and probably edit it before we post it, eh?
Don't go to my Instagram.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, yeah, I think that's what they meant. Dude, I've got maybe 2 or 3 videos of me singing on my Instagram, and they're old. Like, I haven't posted in over a year. But that is partly because I've only just started getting the singing lessons that I want. And you don't start performing after like 3 or 4 lessons. Even though I have been singing for years and I have had other singing education and experience in the past, there are things about my voice that I know need work.
Yeah.
Like, I have this tendency, because I have a deep voice, there's a lot of warmth and darkness in my natural speaking voice. But because I've listened to so much like pop punk and metal, I've sort of overcorrected trying to be too bright, and it's ended up coming off as like a nasal sound, and I need to like course correct and fix that nasality. And that's what I'm working on right now.
And this ties back into our previous discussion of course correction. It's just too much course correction is not a good thing.
Yeah, well...
I did see someone...
Yeah, I overcorrected this.
I did see someone mention... It was in response to another comment, but they were talking about being defensive towards a Disney Cinderella. I'm assuming the animated one. Saying how she's a strong character in her own way. And that is kind of a good example. That's like, people will shit on older examples of female characters like Cinderella, but even the original voice actress for Cinderella said that she always saw her as less of a damsel in distress who needs a man, and that's the whole central point of her story. And seeing it as like, no, the central point of her story is that she disobeys her stepmother and does what she wants. She wants to go to this ball, so she does that. She saw her as kind of spunky, like this like doesn't take orders kind of character. And as from what I've been told, they expand on that in the third one.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, it's the fucking 50s. Like, give
They-
them some leeway.
They were doing the best they could.
Recognize that they're doing the best they can for the time,
Yeah.
and acknowledge that this is part of this is a journey.
Mm.
This is a work in progress. You know, it's not going to be perfect off the bat. And while it's good and healthy to have criticisms and recognize, okay, this is where we can do better
In the future.
in the future, it is bad. It is not a good thing to just shit on, every instance where they don't get it quite right, because it's like,
Well, if that's what's actually happening, because the amount of times people will have valid criticisms that
Yeah.
just get lumped in with hate.
yeah. Well, but that is also the other problem with
Yeah.
hate, is that then it becomes indistinguishable from it
It
becomes
doesn't become indistinguishable.
well, not indistinguishable. It becomes exactly what you said. It bemes lumped in with the rest of the stuff. So then it all gets dismissed.
Yeah.
And it's just these big sweeping extremes.
Mm.
It's like, no, guys, this is not how it works.
There's detail in the middle, and there's one of the problems we have with our videos. Even there's a decent amount of people, not everybody, and definitely not a lot, but there's a small chunk of people who hear just one part of an argument we make and start arguing against that when it's like, but that was the point of what we were saying.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you just paused the video and didn't finish the discussion.
Yeah.
If
If you look at movies like Legally Blonde or Booksmart, it truly makes a difference. You have a team of females in the cast and crew
Yeah.
instead of just lead female
That's
characters.
100%. I mean, Legally Blonde, I think, is one of the best examples of a truly fantastic female character, because
Yeah.
she's strong, she's independent, but she's still feminine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's allowed to be feminine.
Yeah. She's allowed to be whoever the fuck she wants to be.
Exactly. She is allowed to be intelligent and feminine simultaneously.
Yeah.
Neither of them cancels out the other.
She
It's
still
not
has
a trade-off.
feelings.
Yeah, and
She's-
she's
She's still vulnerable.
exactly. And man, to me, I want to see superhero Elle Woods.
Yeah.
I want to see that. That's what I want. That's what I
yeah.
want, Hollywood. I'm running to that Instagram now. God, that's funny.
I mean, thank you guys for those of you who do appreciate the singing clips I have up there. I really do appreciate it. I suppose it's hard for me at this point because I'm gonna hear it a little bit differently, having analyzed my voice closely for years and years on end.
yeah.
I'm not bad. I'm just not good.
Fair enough.
You know,
All right,
and it
but-
depends on exactly what I'm singing. So yeah, for the end here, we kind of went through our main point. We want the last half hour to just kind of be a bit of a free for all.
Yeah.
So anything you guys want to get into,
bit more like our,
Go for it.
our classic live streams.
yeah.
Yeah.
So have you guys seen Loki?
I've not. So I'm
Yes.
super keen for it.
Loki's fun. I don't think it's amazing. Is it good? Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's about it. I don't know. Like it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. I saw someone asking like thoughts on Harley Quinn, and I'm assuming
The
you mean-
show or the movie?
Yeah, the show, the movie, or the character.
That's
the
a good
show's
question.
great.
The show is so good.
God, I love the show.
Yeah.
And I've read up. Oh, you might not know. There's a comic now for the TV
there's like
show.
a 6-episode comic. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah,
It's very sweet. Really ahead of the time movie was Singing in the Rain, early feminist movie where the boyfriend supports his girlfriend's career and believes she deserves to have her dream. That sounds nice. Okay. I haven't seen it, but
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Sure, yeah. Diana saying because all female characters can choose to go the traditional ways and still feel and be empowered, even if that's not my cup of tea. Yeah. So that's exactly, I think, one of the points we're trying to make is literally just the idea that you don't have to strip a woman of her femininity to make her strong.
you don't have to strip her of any like specific character trait. There is nothing. It's kind of like it's a little bit like when I tell people I'm Italian and they say, "Oh, well, you don't seem Italian." What does that mean?
And do you know what
What does that
Italian
mean?
is?
What does that mean? Like,
What is Italian?
is that you're just going on like, oh, because I'm not saying more like my brother who has tan skin, dark curly hair.
Yeah.
You know, I don't present as a stereotype.
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
you're really saying.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
I
like,
get
no,
the
no,
exact same thing.
I don't have to be anything. I just am Italian.
Yeah.
That is innate. That is
Yeah.
not something that can be taken away from me,
Yeah.
regardless of how my behavior changes or,
Yeah.
or is. And it's the same way with being a woman. It's like, no, being a woman is innate.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter how you act or dress or what you say. You are a woman. You
Assuming
know?
you're still identifying that
And
way.
I am including trans women and people who identify as women. Sorry, that is innate. That is not someone saying, "Oh, but I don't know. You don't seem like a woman to me." It's like, no, but you are.
Yeah,
it's an innate thing. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's exactly the same way people are like, I don't seem Asian apparently, and it's like, what is Asian?
Yeah.
Fucking tell me what Asian is.
Yeah, there's no way to seem it. You just fucking are.
Tell me how to be more Thai.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right? Yes. Yes, Kyle. Tell me how to be more like my ethnicity.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what? Because I speak clear English and my dad doesn't?
God, it was like this.
Or didn't?
God, it was like that one time that fucking there was this racist dude harassing Hazel online, and she fucking the dude described me as a proud Saxon.
Yeah, you're like,
oh my god, no!
I am proud, but I'm not a Saxon, or would I be proud of that?
Yeah.
Or I mean, maybe you would be if you are, but it's just like, bro.
Like Hazel's background is like German, Dutch, South African, so technically she's whiter than me.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Disney animated movies are getting better at having good characters who just feel like setting a good example.
Exactly.
I suppose I haven't seen like as many of the more recent ones.
Yeah. There are some cases where it does like feel a little more performative. Like when there's definitely not a coincidence that Moana and Frozen both have these big epic like songs about girls being free, because that's just Disney has recognized, oh, okay, people like this. This sells really well. This ends up being the most popular song, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the Freedom Girl song.
Yeah.
But, again, it's just any steps in the right direction are good steps. Oh yeah, that was something that somebody mentioned, that Elektra and Catwoman were like the first like superhero movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're right. I just didn't like them a lot, but in retrospect, that was because of a lot of studio interference.
A lot of studio interference, yeah. So there's a few people here along the way who are mentioning that they appreciate my singing stuff, and thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. There's just still things that I'm working on. I don't want. I found like one of the problems with my voice is that too often I end up sounding not like me because again I'm overcorrecting. I'm trying to lean too hard into like that alternative punk sort of sound. That it's like, but that's not really my voice. And part of that has just been like me trying to not sound Broadway because I don't sing Broadway stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't sound as big and Broadway-ish as I think I do.
Right, okay.
So, like, I hear it more so when I record myself and I go back, like, a month later, I'm like, oh, that was not nearly as bad or not nearly as good or just whatever. But when I do lean more into the darkness and depth of my real voice, the brightness is still there.
Yeah.
So I just need to...
Trust yourself.
Yeah, and my singing teacher, by the way, I've got a new singing teacher, Luke Kent. He is fantastic. So we've been going over just tone pretty much entirely.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. Harley Quinn, the character, like, have you guys seen the second Suicide Squad? Not seen the second Suicide Squad, but I do. I like the character. I like the character a lot, and I don't like when people. The very common hot take amongst the like butthurt nerds is like, no, Harley Quinn should just be a villain. Like, stop trying to apologize for her problematic behavior. And it's like, no one's apologizing for it. It's It's a redemption story. Yeah. That's the point. She did horrible things, and she's getting better. No one's trying to excuse the fucked up stuff she did when she was the Joker's girlfriend. Like, that's not the argument here.
But even then, like, so much of it is just a representation of trauma.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
and the dealing with trauma.
But yeah, no, a lot of people want to just lump her into this black and white sort of discussion where it's like, no, she did bad things, therefore she's a bad person, therefore she should just be a villain. But when it comes to talking about the Joker, it's like, well, he's a very nuanced character, you know.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Joaquin Phoenix's Joker was like one of the best movies I've ever seen, hands down.
I just can't deal with the Joker in modern media anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's been way
oversaturated.
Yeah, but then the amount of sort of rhetoric around the Joker that just centers around but he's misunderstood. You're like, well, not really.
No, not really.
No, he's pretty well understood. He's a psychopath.
It's just supposed to be a more fleshed out bad guy.
Yeah.
Just because they're fleshed out does not make them they're kind of morally grey, you know? Like, is he really the bad guy? You know you've grown up when you realize the Joker was right, not Batman.
And unfortunately, the Joker was not right.
No, he's not. Just because they give him a more compelling reason or backstory does not make him right. You guys should watch Sex Education on Netflix. I've seen the first season, and it's fucking great, and I really want to watch the rest of it.
Yeah, I'll get into it probably
show.
at some point.
And yeah, like heavy, but damn.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sansa from Game of Thrones.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones. I actively avoided it.
She was. I know what you're talking about, Alice. But I would say that primarily came through, in the pretty much at the beginning and end of the show. In the middle, they kind of got fucked around a lot, especially with like gratuitous rape scenes that didn't need to be there.
Right.
And like there's just indulgent levels of abuse that they put her through. But I do know what you're talking about. Actually, another fucking great example of a piece of media where there are lots of strong female characters who display a range of personality traits, beliefs, and interests is Warrior Nun.
Yeah, Warrior Nun's great.
If you haven't watched it, do.
I think Warrior Nun's surprisingly underrated.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
that impression.
It's being watched, but by not nearly as many people as should.
Yeah, no. 100%. More people should know. To be honest, I didn't know where you guys were from in the beginning because you barely have accents.
I think part of the problem there is the amount of international people who are exposed to Australians are only exposed to really white Australians.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Celeste, but did you mean like where we're from, as in like our backgrounds? Because we were both born in Australia.
No, I think she just means generally what country we're from.
Okay.
Because that's why I was talking about accents.
Yeah. Not you, but I have gotten that before. It's like, because I'm like, yeah, my family's Italian. They're like, oh, but you speak English so well. I'm like, my family is Italian.
I am
Australian.
Yeah. Hang on.
Yes, Carl, tell me.
Don't think I've got any questions. Came here to listen to you guys and wish you all to stay happy and healthy. Thank you so much, Lulu.
Thank you, Lulu.
Much appreciated.
That's
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that's a fantastic example of just well-represented overall characters who are multifaceted.
Yeah.
And they're all good to each other for the most part, except for Gina.
Yeah, I mean, I like Gino.
I know you like Gina, but Gina's abusive.
Yeah, but I would honestly say the same about Boyle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that argument at all.
There are definitely some problems. Even
that
with
doesn't
Gina's
mean
behavior.
she's not shitty.
Yeah.
She's a fucking terrible human being.
Yeah, it's just there are problems.
Boyle is also an issue.
Yeah, there are problems, but overall, the show does a really, you're leaning real hard.
Yeah, I know.
The show does a really good job of just having good representation is good character writing. Mm-hmm. If you are leaning hard on tropes and caricatures in any context, it's bad writing.
Yeah,
and it's like we seem to, as a society, get a load of this society. We seem to recognize this for straight white males.
Yeah.
But we don't apply it to other demographics. And it's like, no, if you're using just cookie cutters, then it's bad writing. Good writing is inclusive, is diverse. Yeah. And is broad. Mm-hmm. It has a range,
Just quickly, because Jackie's pointed to "Don't Doubt Myself." This is something I will say, because I was talking about where I'm at with singing just a few minutes ago or whatever. Something I'll notice with a lot of people is that if I talk about if I could criticize my own ability, I find a lot of people will tie it to emotion, and I don't have any doubts. I'm not unconfident. I'm not even shy to sing in front of people. I'll happily do it. That's not the problem. The problem is I know objectively where I do and don't need work.
Yeah.
I don't see it in that emotional way where I'm tied to the idea of whether I'm good or bad. My self-worth isn't tied to that. I'm still quite proud of myself and my ability, and I think I've made a shitload of progress as a singer. I'm just not all the way there yet because I have super high standards.
Yeah. And that ties into what I was saying before. It's it's necessary to criticize and recognize problems, but in a healthy way.
Yeah. You need to be able to get through these things and have that self-awareness in order to move forward.
Hi from Los Angeles. Hi, Graciela.
LA, what's up?
Some people get really stuck on overly defending things that they like.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a big problem
Mm.
when it comes to criticism in general, and why people really confuse criticism and hatred, and they're not the same thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
it's not.
if I love something, I will criticize it. Ties back to the singing. I
Yeah.
love myself.
Yeah.
So I will criticize
Yeah.
myself because I want to be better.
Exactly. But I will say that is a thing, and it's important to recognize it so you can disengage and just get the fuck away from it when people are deliberately trying to antagonize you under the guise of, I'm just trying to have a discussion here.
Yeah.
Just you need to calm down. They're not trying to have a discussion. They are just trying to get a rise out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's good to know when that happens. I've seen enough Batman and Joker period. I want to see other characters.
Yeah,
100%.
That's 100. I've been like, how many Batman movies are we going to get before Nightwing or Batgirl?
I know.
You know what I mean?
That is pretty much the biggest problem I feel with DC's media in terms of TV and
They
movies.
stick way too much to the most well-known IP.
Pretty much.
But that's because they had the opportunity. Marvel would have done that if they hadn't backed themselves into a corner.
Exactly. They got forced into that. But it's like, okay, you've seen that this works. You've seen that this is what people want. So just do it. There's a reason Shazam worked and was so successful, even though objectively it wasn't the greatest thing they've ever made.
No, it was just a solid movie with like heartfelt characters.
It's just refreshing, you know?
How do you guys deal with misogynistic bros in real life? Because I'm lost with those people. Unfortunately, a decent amount of it is just not dealing with them.
You get the scalpel, and you make an incision, and you cut them the fuck out like the cancers they are.
Look,
you try where you can.
That's what
you can do.
It depends on how capable they are of having an intellectual conversation and hearing you. There's a decent amount of dudes who, because we've been taught that expressing emotion is bad, then therefore when we try to have a discussion or argument, then we're never emotional, guys. We're only thinking logically.
Yeah.
And the amount of guys who think they're making an objective point whilst just throwing emotion all over it and throwing their personal bias all over it, and they don't realize that it's not objective, and you're like, dude, did you look that up? Did you corroborate this information with anything or anybody else? And the answer is no, they fucking did.
Nah.
But then they'll swear up and down that their point is like totally right, and then they'll get mad at you for disagreeing. Like, why are you being so emotional, bro?
Yeah.
And it's like literally that dude who's screaming at you how he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, well, why are you screaming at me then?
Yeah. Men are the less emotional sex or gender because we rebranded anger as not an emotion.
Yeah. So the reality of the situation is I think men are just as emotional as women, if not more so. But the reality is that it's been okay for women to have emotions because women are emotional. And you're just like, and that's why they're better at fucking handling them.
Exactly. No, I'd say we are more emotional because we're conditioned to not deal with our emotions, so they become more volatile. Yeah. Especially because the default is get angry.
Yeah, men and women are both very heavily emotional. It's just
human beings overall are pretty emotional.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Okay, good point. But I feel with just as if you're raised female in this society, let's not even talk about your identity.
If you're socialized
as in a female way, you tend to. It's okay to be able to talk about your emotions, and I feel a lot of women are more emotionally adept because of that.
Yeah,
and this isn't overall like this isn't. How do I put this? Not a blanket statement. Of course, there are women who act more like dudes, where it's not okay to show emotion, and that might be a personal thing, and it might be because of their family or the society that they grew up in. But the reality is just an experience in handling it.
No, 100%. I can also screw over women who say are low empathy, who are just not very emotional by nature, and then they're told, "Well, why aren't you so cold? Why are you such a bitch?" And it's like, she's not. She just doesn't feel as strongly, and that's totally fine too. Yeah. It's just like, no, but we've got these set roles that you're supposed to fill out, and that colors the interpretation of the personality trait.
Yeah.
When a guy is like super stoic and like not emotional, it's like, oh yeah, he's very calm and collected, like kind of like a natural leader. But you have a woman who's like that, it's like, man, she's just a fucking frigid ice queen, man. And it's like, oh, that's not cool.
Well, but then the amount of times that they're actually writing them that way.
Oh no! I'm talking about in terms of real life.
Oh, in real life,
but in terms of writing them that way.
In terms of characters, that's a whole other
And
story,
if anything, I would say that perception is then what influences writing of those characters like that. And it's like, yeah, it clicks to you like, oh, the reason I didn't like any of the female characters that I saw in movies and TV shows growing up was because they were written by men who didn't like women.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, now that makes sense.
There's definitely, I think, a perception of a woman not being able to be the tough one.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to be the aggressive one. And
Yeah.
if you're any way aggressive as a woman, then that's like, you're a bitch.
Yeah,
And
pretty
I found
much.
that, like, with a lot of older people, they get that impression from just any female character who's, like,
Yeah.
bossing.
Mm.
But you look at The Proposal, you know, who had the most problems with the Sandra Bullock character?
Yeah.
Older women.
Yeah, makes sense.
And yeah, it's just because I think it's been socialized that if you're any way aggressive or assertive as a woman, then you must be a bitch.
Yeah. Totally unrelated, but you guys keep me mildly sane and happy.
Well, thank you, Diana.
Thank you. It's really nice.
Hey, Warrior Nun is on my list to watch. You know what? The one problem with Warrior Nun is I don't know when it's coming back, so I'm like, watch it soon, but then I don't know how long you're going to have to wait for season 2.
Yeah.
You know what I
And then
mean?
you got to the end, the last episode, and so it's like, season 2 is coming. And I'm
When?
like, you son of a bitch, Sam. How could you?
Yeah, same thing with Snowpiercer, which is coming back. Snowpiercer is tough,
Yeah.
like emotionally
Oh, yeah.
difficult, but it's a great show. So for they do have trigger warnings on it.
Okay.
On the show, though.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very considerate of them. Oh, y'all are Australian. I'm from New Zealand. You can't watch y'all anymore. That's sarcasm. That's sarcasm. That's just making a joke.
We know they're joking. Yeah. Wait, those are cool. Yeah, there you go. Some people don't even know about Warrior Nun. It's on Netflix.
Dude, it's really good. Really, really surprising.
Yeah.
Gina is a good character, like not
Brooklyn
a good person,
Nine-Nine.
but a good character. And that is a valid angle to take.
I wouldn't say that she's a bad person.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
I think that she's extremely secretive.
Yeah.
I think that she is closed off in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make her a bad person.
Sure.
Yeah.
You guys have a live schedule, so it can be every time. We're trying to do this weekly.
We want to do this every week, the exact same time, so Monday morning. We might even try and make it a little bit earlier, but that is dependent on sleeping.
Yeah.
We're going to try and be better at that.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Such a healthy way of viewing your abilities. Thank you.
We try.
Missing the several times hat.
Yeah.
Oh, no one noticed, but even in the freaking one of our recent ones, I was wearing a Gravity Falls ring.
Yeah.
And I was like, but then nobody saw it. And I was like, okay.
I've noticed the little details. The only amount of times I've worn my lantern necklace and no one's pointed that out.
Yeah.
I think only 1 or 2 times anyone's pointed out the red lantern tattoo on my arm, which is this one.
Big fucking tattoo.
But yeah, only like one person's mentioned it. Thanks, Ben. Thank you, Tori.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Zisa, hi, go to bed.
Yeah, she's going to bed, yeah.
Yeah, good
Easy
night.
stuff. When someone becomes a vocalist, then what?
Hmm.
Well, then I start releasing songs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I still need to work on my audio production skills as well. But this is something that I've been able to continue to develop whilst making our videos, because I constantly play with the sound of our videos. I'm constantly trying to improve and have a better audio every time. So you might notice that sometimes when we don't have the mics these days, it still sounds pretty decent. It's because I've worked on my audio engineering skills.
Oh, speaking of all that, I just wanted everyone to know, I want us to start using the lights and even like maybe find a way to get the microphones
for the lives?
running
Yeah, I
through
completely
it
agree.
through the lives so that it's like a bit like better quality and shit.
We might not
So,
necessarily even need the microphones for the lives if I EQ and compress correctly.
Yeah.
Well, there's
We'll
more
see.
than that. If I mix it correctly, because there's maybe 4 or 5 things I can do that I can almost set as like, oh god, preset. I can have them as presets so that they just attenuate the sound the entire way.
Well, yeah, there's presets in Ecamm Live as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Very,
Like
yeah,
the
it's-
one thing I will need to look into with Ecamm Live is if they have a D-reverb, which I will be so thankful if they have a D-reverb, because just like
Yeah.
cutting out the room sound
Yeah.
is pretty much my number one
Yeah.
goal. And then, of course, not losing my voice in the mix is another issue, because I generally speak around 100 hertz or below, and that is usually the frequencies that get cut off in all audio.
Rough.
So, like, there are times where I essentially have to attenuate for the idea that we have to have more bass than normal just so that half my voice doesn't go missing.
Yeah. I learned a long time ago to not let people get to me about things that exclusively are based on opinions. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good...
It's a good thing to work on.
Because you also got to remember that when people, when the people don't hate you because they don't know you.
Mm.
They hate an aspect of you. They hate a perception of you. Their idea of who you are.
Yeah.
And most of the time, they have stuck a label and an idea onto you
Yeah.
to make it easier to hate you. They're
Absolutely.
deliberately not seeing the entirety of your humanity.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point. Don't let that shit get to you.
Discussions are difficult when you're a fan of one thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
But I think it's very important
biased.
to be able to criticize the things you're a fan of.
Mm.
You know, like I recently had a discussion with a basketball fan about just one player who's
Yeah.
a great player but has had a few issues, and I tried so hard to make it clear that I'm a huge fan of this player. Like, I've been following them since college.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? I watch them every year in the NBA, and they're like, what, 8 or 9 years in now. This is Paul George, by the way, for any of the basketball fans out there. I try to make it so clear that I'm a huge Paul George fan. And at the end of the conversation, he's like, so if they win a championship, will you stop being a hater? I was like,
Oh man,
this is one of my top 5 fucking favorite players in the league. You cannot call me a hater.
Would you say that you tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it didn't even matter?
It didn't.
Yeah. Fucking Chester.
Yeah, seriously though, Chester.
Oh, but that is a fucking thing, and that's something that I've found frustrating even with our videos. That we'll be like, yeah, man, we really liked this movie. It was great. People are like,
Why are you such a hater?
I can't believe you hated this movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe you hated the characters. I'm like, I had a criticism of one part of the character, and the rest of it I liked.
Yeah.
What do I have to say to get this across to you?
Yeah. And apparently I'm just taking the movie too seriously every time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, did I not laugh like most of this time?
Oh, Mateo's got a good point. It's been
Yeah.
okay for women to have emotions so long as they aren't aggressive emotions.
Yeah.
We can be sad or scared, but if we're angry, we aren't feminine or ladylike. Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
you guys have to be vulnerable
Yeah.
in some way
But-
at all times.
No, it's not that they have to be like vulnerable in some way. Like I want more of that. This is exactly what we're talking about before. We're not getting enough of that.
Okay, when I say vulnerability, I mean more in the unhealthy way of like, oh, I'm completely reliant on
In the subversive way.
Yeah,
Submissive.
submissive way.
Submissive
Not vulnerable.
Not vulnerable.
Submissive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There
that's
you
what
go.
they want. They say,
Yeah.
I just want a vulnerable female character. You want a submissive female character. That's why you have a problem with this character who displays emotional vulnerability, like being too aggressive or too angry. You know. In instances like that, where they're like, man, she was just so angry all the time. I just really didn't like this character. There was no vulnerability, and it's like, was that the problem, or are you just angry that she didn't display any kind of submissiveness?
Yeah, I would definitely say that there's a lack of submissiveness.
Yeah,
Like a female character has to be number 2
yeah,
in all instances.
pretty much. She can never be the best.
Yeah.
That's kind of also why, the second Marvel announced that Captain Marvel was the strongest Avenger.
Yeah.
Just
And then they didn't use her that way at all.
Instant butthurt.
Oh yeah.
Instantaneous butthurt.
She would be like even in the comics. She's one of the strongest characters.
She's Marvel's version of Superman. Like, come on. You can't, or at least if you have that criticism of like she's OP, it's like, yeah, but you gotta lever that. You have to have that argument against Superman as well, okay? And I have seen people who are like, no, but like that's different because Clark Kent's a really like well fleshed out character. And it's like, so is Captain Marvel. Just because they dicked her up in the movie, you know?
Yeah, in the comics, yeah, for sure.
Don't get it twisted.
In the comics, she's quite complex.
Yeah, exactly. Why I like American Horror Story so much. Yeah, I've trailed off with American Horror Story with season 2. I just felt there were too many conflicting storylines, and it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, with the Europeans are getting super sleepy. Makes sense.
Yeah, you go to bed. Go to bed. It's all right. We're gonna probably finish up in what, like 10-15 minutes anyway.
Yeah, I finish up very soon. Yeah. As a woman who does Krav Maga, I've trained so much with men who are actually surprised that I hit hard and know the drills.
Come straight.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Like, there are... I would say that one of the main differences for women in any action, anything that's athletic or combat sports oriented is not how hard you can hit, it's just the advantage you start off with.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, to be fair, end up with in the long run. This is a very complex discussion, and it requires a lot of understanding of biology and, like, hormones.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you went through puberty as a woman by sex, and we're not talking about gender identity, just basic biology, there's so many things that are different.
Sure. I mean, again, I don't
know,
go
you know,
anywhere
yeah.
near enough to comment on this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean,
that's another discussion for another day, I think.
but I will say in terms of yeah, the level of surprise and stuff, I think that is then like yeah, that's kind of something that's a bit of a problem where it's like, okay, we can have this strong female character, but we can't actually have her just be jacked. Like even
that's an interesting.
like
I think Gina Carano is the only example of like a really like big, like physically big, strong woman.
What was she in?
Deadpool.
Yes, and
Yeah.
she's in The Mandalorian as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, but that was like the whole angle. That is like her entire character is being
She's just
like,
the buff one.
the buff lady.
Yeah.
The Amazon. But yeah, like even like mind you, Gal Gadot is strong, is fit, and I super fucking appreciate that. Yeah, okay, she had curves, but when her legs hit the ground, there's no jiggle. It's muscle. Like I appreciate that, but yeah, they definitely went with a very slim version of Diana.
Yeah.
Compared to like a lot of comic interpretations where
she's quite
her
jacked.
arms are like out to here.
Yeah.
Where they were like, yeah, this is a fucking like
She's a warrior.
this is a race of magical warrior women. They're gonna be fucking huge.
Yeah.
You know?
She's on the magic gear.
Yeah, just absolutely yoked. You know? And like, yeah, it's just like you always do see it where it's like this inexplicably small, skinny woman just beating the ever-loving shit out of like Dwayne Johnson-sized dudes. And like in like especially a lot of older action movies, because they're like, well, we want a strong female character, but we don't want it to not be sexy in our eyes,
Yeah,
so we're not going to
sexy.
make her muscular.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh dude,
that's
come on.
the problem
Come
with
on.
the upcoming She-Hulk we discussed.
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
remember?
that's a big one.
They tried way
She-Hulk,
too hard to make her sexy.
She-Hulk is still a Hulk.
She should be fucking pretty jacked.
She can still be sexy,
Oh yeah.
but she got to be jacked. Dude.
Yeah, having muscle doesn't make you unfeminine.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a bit unfortunate.
I don't know, maybe alternate to a different day. We have to try and cover the middle ground of who's going to be most available, and then when we can actually do it.
It's a time where everybody is at least awake, whether it's because they're just waking up or they're about to go to bed. We're just trying to find something that suits as many people as possible.
Yeah.
In here in Austria, it's like 12:40.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Now go to bed, Maria. That's all G. I was gonna cook dinner.
Days, fair enough. Have a good one, Alice.
Yeah, like 40 people, not one of us in the same time zone.
Yeah, that is the issue. We're trying so hard to just stay in the middle.
Yeah.
Middle ground. Yeah, this is a tough one.
It looks like shit's wrapping up.
Bedtime for you. Oh yeah, look, it means a decent amount of the people in this chat are the Europeans.
Yeah, all right.
Which,
Good to know.
That's great. It's very difficult in terms of time zones.
Sorry. Sorry, if my mom hadn't have moved, then yeah, this would have been fine.
It's only 6:40 p.m. Yeah, I feel privileged. Okay, so somewhere in America.
Yeah. Linkin Park reference.
Oh right.
Oh, you said my name right. I'm Italian. Of course I did.
Adobe Audition is amazing for what you guys are trying to achieve. I use Audition for every single video.
Yeah. I mean, we have to pay for the Adobe package, so you might as well.
Yeah. Oh no. Like one of the reasons we kept the Adobe package is because I like using Adobe Audition so much.
Yeah.
It's where I started figuring out how to audio engineer.
Rebecca, why have you not eaten all day?
Yeah. What the fuck, Rebecca?
I know that I can't criticize anybody because I haven't eaten today, but you know you should do better.
How old are you guys? 29.
Yes.
29 and 33. Sleep is for the weak. No, sleep is for everybody.
No.
Sleep is for the strong.
Yeah.
You can't be strong if you don't sleep correctly.
Lack of sleep makes you weak.
Yeah, for real. And for real, lack of sleep screws your hormones so bad that it will fuck up your long-term happiness.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
get sleep.
I can tell you that from fucking firsthand.
You would tell you that firsthand from having terrible sleep and having your shit fucked up, but only being on one side. I can tell you from both sides of the coin.
Exactly, yeah. You can see it. You fixed it and you were like, oh, wow, it's so much better now.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude, it is so much better now.
Yeah. Like, for me, at least, there is still haven't completely ruled out the possibility of bipolar. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, even with bipolar type 2, it's like, it makes your sleep shit, and then the shit sleep makes your bipolar worse, and that makes your sleep worse, and it's like this vicious cycle. So even then, it's still like, getting good sleep, super fucking important at all times,
no
at
matter
any given
what you're
time
doing.
for anybody. Yeah. As well, like an attitude team, like the surprise that enjoy combat and take the hits, yet still be feminine and petite. Yeah, man. You can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's mainly just because of conditioning, and that they just don't see it that way.
Yeah. That's right. A girl could be smarter, stronger, but she can't be the hero. Exactly. So the girls that we get who are nuanced and interesting and vulnerable and many other things, just like multifaceted characters, are always side characters.
They're side characters.
Yeah.
Which sucks because like fucking Hermione should have just been the main character in Harry Potter.
Fair enough.
And I think honestly, in my rewrite, Hermione's the main character and Harry's the secret like twist villain at the end.
Hang on. There isn't really an inherent difference when you go through female puberty. It's really a case by case basis. Most things feminine can be easily switched. That's not true at all. Testosterone is 10 times different. And I mean literally 10 times different. It has a huge impact on your bone structure, your lung capacity, your red blood cells. It's a big, big difference.
Again, I'm just not saying anything because I just don't know.
I do.
I haven't. Yeah. Okay. If you've read up on it, if you feel like you're well informed on the subject, go hard.
And I also can tell. I can tell you the difference between having low levels of testosterone and high levels of testosterone because I've been through both, and it's fucking different.
For sure.
Hugely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really sad they don't have more body diversity with female superheroes. Yeah. I get what you mean in terms if you're just talking about female superheroes in
if you're talking about having female superheroes who are either like small for fast roles like a Spider-Man type of thing, or jacked for strong roles like a Hulk type of thing, I would agree with you there.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think we're getting better. I think we're getting there where we're having more body diversity, but less so as like I've seen a what was it, Bouncing Boy, Legion of Superheroes? I've seen bigger dudes in like hero roles, but I've yet to see bigger women in hero roles, or as many.
Not really, because in the male roles they're pretty much always a joke, and look, man,
Bouncing Boy is pretty much the only example, but at least I've seen it.
Yeah.
At least it was there for a brief moment in history somewhere. But I have seen that. But yeah, but no, you are right. For the most of the part, it is like they're typically the joke or there's a comic relief character. Think Ned from Spider-Man.
Yeah. When it comes to heavier, like literally just not skinny or buff, I'm talking about like actually just bigger characters, male or female. The reality is, what's their ability, what's their skill set? Because if they're just a vigilante, that's not going to work out. If they have some kind of superpower, like they can fly or like they're super strong or whatever, that makes more sense. Especially if there's some invulnerability tied into it. Because if you're not invincible but you have super strength, it doesn't matter what size you are, you're gonna get fucked up. And I have to say, if you're big, whether that be muscle or fat, and you don't have like some kind of invulnerability, your knees and ankles are going to give out way before the bad guy takes you. Yeah,
that's a fair point.
And again, muscle or fat. If you're like 300 pounds of muscle, your knees will give out too.
Well, shit, muscle's heavier.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not. It's just more compact.
Really?
Muscle. It's a pound of anything is a pound of anything.
I mean, sure, but. No, I get that. That makes sense. It's like the feather versus bricks things. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that was just something that was always said. It was just like.
Muscle is more compact.
Yeah,
for sure.
I get what you mean.
Don't even start on the suits and the shoes that they put on these characters just because they have to look pretty or have actual function. I know, dude, completely agreed. 100%.
You know what's a fascinating look into that, like almost unintentionally, is there's a Corridor Crew, that YouTube channel, where they primarily do VFX artists react, but they also have a stuntman react segment, and a lot of times they'll have stunt people on there, people who have worked on the Marvel movies and shit, and they have like female stunt people as well. And one common thing is that the female stunt workers have to be like 10 times tougher than the dudes because they cannot get even like half as much padding for their outfits because they're always in these either like very skimpy or very tight fitting clothes where you can't hide pads underneath them. They will show and they'll be bulky and it'll look weird. So they just got to take the hits and tough it out. And it's just fucking like, oh my God, this poor woman is like being thrown from a moving vehicle and it's just like, walk it off. Walk it off. We can't give you pads because you're wearing tight jeans versus your male counterpart who is wearing like a baggy leather jacket, so we can just fill it with like sandbags and whatnot, and they'll be fine.
We definitely need more female superheroes that aren't defined by the way they look, for
Yeah.
sure. It's one of the things that I always liked about Ravager in the comics was that, like, even though it's still form-fitting, at least it's armor.
Yeah, like
You know what I
actual
mean?
armor and
Yeah.
not. I love Wonder Woman, but that's a fucking bathing suit, and you can't tell me otherwise. It's not armor.
Good. And, ooh, that's why I'm not happy. I'm assuming, Kanda, that you're referring to
Sleep,
the sleep thing, and
deprivation.
that is part of it,
It's
yes.
probably a big part.
Getting
of it.
consistently terrible sleep will constantly fuck up your hormone profile, which makes it harder to sleep and harder to stay happy.
It will not. It's not the direct
I'm
reason
not
for
saying
your
it's the
unhappiness.
only reason. No,
But
God,
it
no.
will make it so much easier
It's like-
to be happy.
It's like walking through wet sand.
Yeah.
Can you do it? Yeah. Is it hard? For
Yeah.
sure.
I will say
Way harder.
the time in my life where I was the most emotionally stable was when I was going to the gym 3 times a week, an hour each time, and exercising on a regular basis. Fucking in the words of the great Elle Woods, people who exercise have endorphins, and people with endorphins are happy and they don't kill their husbands.
That's actually so much more valid. Yeah. Good thing I can start working hours between 6:30 a.m. and 9. I'll also be working from home tomorrow, so I can just get out of bed at 8:45, start working, get good enough sleep tonight. Absolutely. A good thing for your schedule.
Zoop is a trans man that has experienced all three.
Isn't inherently going to do one thing. No. Yeah, it is. I'm not saying that it's a good or a bad thing. It's okay to celebrate the differences between men and women. Equality doesn't equal the same.
Yeah.
And yet, when it comes to puberty, there are differences. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just different.
There's a spectrum.
Yeah.
It's fine. I feel like we need to point out animation, which is making delightfully massive strides in having different body types for women, especially the more action-oriented characters. Yeah, I would definitely agree. But animation has always kind of taken that role because it's
Because
seen
you
as
can
less
do whatever
serious.
the fuck you want with animation.
It's seen as less serious. The executives don't care as much, which allows more creative freedom. The reason that Into the Spider-Verse was such a fucking trip was because Sony thought that Sony's been animation studio has been circling the drain. This was coming off the back of the Emoji Movie, so they were like, "Fuck it, there's a good chance we're going to close this department down anyway. So why the hell not?" It's the same reason why people say, "Oh man, in the early 2000s, Disney's last 2D animated movies were really experimental and cool. What the hell happened?" They were about to close it down. They were about to get rid of the 2D animated department and shift completely into 3D. So they were like, "Yeah, fuck it. You want to make a movie about the lost city of Atlantis? Go ahead. You want to make Treasure Island in space? Go hard, son.
You want this crazy little weird alien?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why the hell not? You want to make you want what's his name? The dude who voiced the Emperor in The Emperor's New Groove."
I can't remember.
Whatever. But still, you want to make the most comedy-oriented Disney movie ever? Yeah, go hard. Why the hell not?
Why not? Yeah. Sam always disagree with Steph. It's too fun. I don't always disagree with Steph. We agree on so many things.
I don't think that's accurate.
I think people, and this happens in the comments of our videos too. A lot of people think that we're diametrically opposed, and I don't think
really
that's
not.
true. We're just
we
don't agree on everything, but we agree on a lot of things.
I think there's I have this little theory that the key to a good relationship in any context, platonic or romantic or otherwise, is your baseline innermost self is very compatible, and then everything on top can be different to varying degrees in order to, so that way you have something to talk about. One of my best friends, Mateo, in terms of our interests and things that we like and whatnot, and our approaches to stuff, in a lot of ways we're very, very different, which gives us a lot to discuss and talk about. And there's interest, in trying to see each other's point of views, but at our cores we are very much on the same level, and that's how I feel that it works with me and Sam as well. And I just feel like,
and I think it's
natural. It's good to disagree with your friends. Otherwise, you're just surrounding yourself with clones.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the reasons why we are still friends, is that we can have a disagreement and not have that affect the way we think of each other.
It doesn't ruin the friendship.
Whereas I wouldn't necessarily say, hang on, I left it there on purpose.
Oh, sorry.
Because I know you would want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But I would say that that's one of the reasons I don't have as many straight guy friends, is literally just because of their inability to have a disagreement without getting upset about it.
Yeah, I know. And
it's dude, I can disagree with you. I can hear your different point without being mad, and it's very tough for some guys.
Yeah.
Who are they'll sit there and be like, "I'm not mad at you. I just don't understand why you're wrong.
Yeah.
Why do you think this thing that's different to me?" And it's on
this completely subjective.
Subjective
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though
it's
it's a
a tough one.
even though it's
Go
a
on.
cartoon, the new She-Ra has really great representation of women with varying body types, neurodivergence, and LGBT characters. It's pretty great. I know, I fucking love that show.
He does.
And it is hands down one of my favorite pieces of animation that I've ever seen. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I saw the first 2 episodes and that's it. So.
He didn't vibe with the characters, and
It's
that's
not
fine.
even just the characters; it's just the style of the show itself.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Overall, like that vibe of shows just isn't really my thing.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
That's all good. But yeah, I fucking froth it so hard. And yeah, you're right.
Rebecca, if you're still here, then good night. If you're not,
Yeah.
well,
Good night,
you'll see
Rebecca.
this later maybe.
And yeah, it's 11. Look, it's 11. I think it's
Yeah.
time. We're gonna wrap this up now.
Yeah, so we'll get in like last 10 minutes of
Yeah.
questions or anything that you guys want to
Yeah,
put in here. Do you guys have a Patreon? Nope.
we have a members though, so if
Yeah,
you just
we have
go-
YouTube memberships if you want to look at that.
It's just on the movie buds though.
Yeah, only the
Yeah.
movie buds.
Mm.
We haven't monetized this channel yet.
Yet.
I don't believe. I think we need like
We gotta-
4,000 hours watched.
Got to figure that out. One more thing I'm happy with that Ever After did. Oh, well, I haven't seen it.
We haven't got to Ever After yet. We will get there sooner or later. Yeah. The equity versus equality image has always stuck with me. 3 kids of different height get appropriate amount of boxes to have equal view over fence rather than getting each one as tall as does not need.
etc. Yeah. I know the metaphor you're talking about. It's where like 3 people are trying to watch a football game from over a fence, and like they're like different heights, and it's like equality, and it's like each person gets a box, but the shortest person still can't see.
Yeah.
And the tallest person didn't need the box to begin with.
That's what I'm talking
it's
about.
Equality versus equity.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. We can be different, like as human beings, where there's a lot of differences between us, and that's okay. We can celebrate all of our individual different strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Voop, yes, like we are talking like broad general terms, like the overall, like the most common.
We are talking about general puberty for overall men and women. Are there outliers? Absolutely. Hell, I am one of those outliers where I went through like not nearly enough testosterone for my growing up experiences and through my adult life. Just low testosterone for a long time, and I didn't know how to fix that or deal with it or change it at all up until a few years ago.
With big shit like this, you kind of have to use generalities because you can't account for every single person's individual experience.
There's always going to be an exception to the rule. There's no universal truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As someone that's gone through female puberty and then male puberty, my body works pretty much the same as any other guy. Yeah, I believe you. And awesome.
Yeah, that's one I would need to discuss with like a scientist or a doctor a little bit more before I can have an opinion, because
I mean, I'm just taking the word for it.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't know that much.
that is a complicated one.
Sure.
Yeah.
If it's true, then awesome. I mean, good for you.
I actually think it's really mature the way you guys are able to have an actual conversation and expose different perspectives while having the same principles. Most people your age get butthurt. Absolutely. It's one of the reasons why I don't have a lot of like male friends my age or older, specifically straight ones.
Yes.
It's just because the inability to have a difference in opinion or discussion without, again, hating each other for it. You know what I mean?
I love hearing your opinions, how much you respect each other and the work you watch. Oh, thanks, man.
We try.
We try, yeah.
I feel like in friendships, especially being empathetic and supportive doesn't mean sharing every opinion. It just means you support each other no matter what. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I would even
100%.
I would even argue you don't necessarily have to be empathetic. You just have to be considerate and compassionate.
Yeah.
You just have to, even if you don't, because there are people, like say, with low empathy who cannot feel what you're feeling, but you can intellectually acknowledge it and respect it.
Yeah.
You know, and
I would say that I
anything,
fall into that category sometimes.
and if anything,
Not all the time.
I have met people who are highly empathetic, but they are trash when it comes to actually just respecting your opinion.
Yeah.
And it's like that almost makes it worse. It's like you can feel what I'm feeling, and yet somehow you're still being awful.
Yeah. What's your favorite guitar to play?
High school band kid.
I mean, where's my? It's not even in this room. I have a blue Kramer that's. It's like a Kramer Beretta, but it's a little bit different. It's got a slanted hot rail in the bridge position, which I fucking love, and it's just really smooth. But if you wanted to go searching for that exact guitar, you probably wouldn't find it. You'd just find variations of it. Like, I've never found an exact copy of the guitar that I love.
Yeah.
So
I will say 13 is probably too heavy for us to react to on our channel. Sorry, Money.
What is?
13 show.
I don't know what it is.
I think I've heard a bit about it. It's got some pretty pretty full on shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's the heaviest stuff we might get into a bit later, but we do
Maybe.
want it to be somewhat lighthearted, especially on the movie
Yeah,
channel.
because it's hard to make jokes when it's something like Promising Young Woman, which comes up a lot. That movie is
hard to joke
so intense.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, dude.
And we do have our own mental health to consider as well.
Yeah, I went into a spiral after watching that movie. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. That's another thing why a lot of my friendships failed, because at the core we were very different, but on the surface we were very similar. Yeah, and that's why the argument of like, oh, but like we don't have anything in common is bullshit.
Oh yeah, everybody
have nothing in common. It's more
nothing. I think is inaccurate because
in the context of the way that people perceive that term.
in terms of perspectives, sure, but I've never met a single human being that I couldn't relate to in some way.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. When they say like something in common, what they really mean is we don't share any hobbies.
Yeah, and
that's
like,
really all they mean when they say that. Like,
Yeah.
you're not considering we have the same sense of humor.
Yeah.
We have the same morals. We have the same kind of just overall vibe and attitude.
It's way
you know?
more than that. I mean, like, you can go through similar experiences and
Exactly.
expect different outcomes.
Yeah, there's so much more, and it all just comes down to, oh, but I like crocheting and they don't. It's like, come on, man, try harder.
This one, the metaphor goes another step where instead of just giving the 3 people boxes, the wood fence is replaced with chain link.
Yeah.
To fix the system that's broke. Yeah, the system has issues.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's cool to think if you visit our countries, you'll have free tour guides. Yeah.
Sure.
Especially for those places where we need them.
If you wanna.
Are you guys going to watch more decom musicals like Descendants, Zombies, Cheetah Girls on our channel? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
No, we will.
There are plenty of resources about the biology of trans people. If you're curious in the biological changes, differences with cis people, just make sure you check out legitimate scientific sources. That's all I do.
Every time.
I spend a shitload of time researching just things that I'm interested in. Human biology is one of those things because I spent so much time of my life with a fucked up hormonal profile because of my terrible sleeping habits, and I had to fix that. So yeah, I've learned a lot about it in the last couple of years for those specific reasons.
Yeah. Feeling empathy is one thing, but expressing yourself back is another story. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, being able to accurately represent what you're feeling and thinking is a very, very huge problem, I think, in our society, where we haven't been taught how to represent ourselves, or even the idea that we're misrepresenting ourselves. It's like when you say to someone, oh, just be yourself, and they're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's because it's technically a correct statement, but it's just not explained well enough for most people.
Especially when it's like, for like myself, it was just like, oh, but I'm not sure who that is.
That's
when
what
I
I
was
mean.
younger.
That's what I'm saying.
And especially even then we're like, oh, just be yourself. And then I do that and be like, whoa, not like that.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
but
dude.
also, yeah, that's exactly it.
Well, but I was being myself.
Especially, like, most people don't know who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
How can you be yourself if you don't know who the fuck you are?
Yep. Not a question, but thanks, Sam, for replying, reading my DMs. I know it's not hard right now, but you still make me feel seen. Basically, just at home. Hate showing feelings, but you guys are just my comfort people. Well, thanks,
I
Daniel.
appreciate you. Yeah, no worries. I try as best as I can. I do have, like, 20 unread messages right now, and I really do try to reply to as many people as possible. It becomes tough when I'm trying to balance, like, editing. And my schedule these days is, like, I wake up and I edit. And then I have breakfast, I edit, I work out, I edit, I sing, I edit, I work out, I edit, and then I eat dinner, and then I watch TV with Maria and I go to bed.
I've seen it.
Yeah, then that's my whole day.
Yeah,
you know?
and I will say, look, if I've not replied to DMs, it's really just because messaging and like socials
Stresses
in
him out.
particular. I get a very unreasonable anxiety reaction from that shit. Even from people that I've known for years, even from him, even from my own mother, from my family members, my friends, everybody. It just stresses me out.
Yeah.
So I don't take it personally if I don't reply. It's probably because I'm feeling overwhelmed and I literally can't.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I do have a little bit of that when it comes to messages, because long, nuanced messages, at a certain point, I kind of just stop replying to it because I don't have the emotional amount of time to delve into, like a 3-paragraph thing.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad because it's usually like really intelligent, good quality people that I just end up not being able to continue replying to, and I feel like
I feel like shit. Yeah.
Like it's just tough.
Or also, when it's like an very emotionally charged message, and I'm like, I am already in an emotionally heightened state, and I literally cannot deal with this right now because I just do not have the mental emotional capacity for it right now. Like I'm full, so I'm sorry. But yeah, I can't do it all the time.
For Pretty Young Woman, I went in expecting it to be more like Spit on Your Grave, and I was anticipating the lead massacring the guys who took their home drunk. So it was a bit too tame for me. Sure.
I mean, I would not describe that ending as tame, even remotely.
Yeah, and it's not what she does or doesn't do to the guys. It's the subject matter overall that's messed up. And
exactly.
Again, not in a bad way. Not in a like, oh, it's too much or anything like that. It's just, how do we make jokes about this kind of thing?
More so, it was just so deeply upsetting. Mainly because, and that was the point. They did exactly what was intended. And that was to be like, oh yeah, you think this is going to be this really satisfying revenge story, but it's like, no, we're going to show you what really happens.
Yeah, show you the
99% of the time. This is what actually happens, and it's super fucked up. Same as everyone else. Oh, I also saw somebody mentioned Good Omens. Yeah, that's a fucking choice show. Yeah, love it, and I'm super keen for season 2.
Also, same as everyone else, I feel immense comfort and happiness from watching your vids. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Define.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Same. The social anxiety is the worst, for sure.
Why doesn't Steph edit? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he does.
No, I do too.
Oh, yeah, just because I'm saying that I'm editing like all day, every day, doesn't mean that he's not.
Yeah, no, we're trading off.
Yeah.
Who do you think is editing when he's having lunch?
Yeah, and we've even been staggering our minutes so that we're both editing at the same time. It's just
on different projects.
He'll be on the A project, I'll be on the B project, and this is our way of trying to get ahead and actually get back to posting on a weekly schedule.
Exactly. I'm a full-time YouTuber, and so is he. This is our job.
This is what we do now.
What we do.
Yeah. I'll let it for you guys for free if you want. I know style is personal, but overwork yourself. I just study. Fucking now I've got this.
The time marker. Just scroll. Yeah.
There we go. I do study that at uni, so it's not going to be absolutely terrible if you ever need help. That's an interesting question, and we'll look into the potential of hiring someone in the future. But yeah, the biggest problem I tend to find for me personally is that I'm very specific about timing. It's not about fancy editing ideas or tricks. It's literally just the timing of everything. I'm not saying that anybody else can't do it. I'm saying that I'm a crazy control freak. And just the fact that he edits like half of these videos is stressful enough. Like, has nothing to do with you.
I swear to God. It's just a lot of the stuff you tell me. I'm just like, God, are you sure you're not autistic?
I mean, I could be,
possibly.
But it really matters in the end.
So many traits. It doesn't matter at all, but just so many traits. I'm just like, man, that is such a classic thing. That's such a classic autism thing. That was like, oh no, I have to be in control of the situation at all times. I need to know, so because otherwise it stresses me out.
Again, it's the specificity of it, though. It's just like, I know that no matter who it is, they're not going to edit it the way I want it. Yeah. It doesn't matter how good they are.
No, it's just a lot of shit that you have is very much in common with Hazel, with Mateo, with Liam.
Serenity Adams. I'm not that great at advice. Can I interest you with a sarcastic comment?
Chandler. Yep, that is pretty much me, except more of a joke rather than I will probably make light of it to try and cheer you up.
I tend to talk way too much when I'm triggered because it feels like talking about it doesn't even work, so I keep doing it and I basically vomit huge walls of text and regret it later.
Yep.
For sure.
That's it. That's the feeling. That's it right there.
Love you guys. Okay, 3 a.m. Go to sleep to find.
Go to sleep to find.
It's being a full-time YouTuber.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm very, very happy about it. Very happy to leave retail.
Do you think the timing thing ties you into you being a musician?
Yep.
100%. And not even being a musician, specifically into being a lead guitar player.
And being a drummer.
Yeah.
All about the timing.
Yeah. We have different ideas on that.
Well, yeah, no, it's kind of, it's the same, it's all timing, but it's different interpretations of timing. Yeah, like for me, it's
You're a lot more lockstep.
It's very much is like, no, but is this on the beat?
You want things on all the time.
I'm like counting along as I'm like, editing, say for High School Musical, when I'm editing the songs, I'm like, no, this has to be on the beat or off the beat, but it can't be somewhere in between. I'm sure that
it can't be somewhere in between, but for me, it's like back and forth. It depends on what's happening.
For me, for me, more like, no, I need this to be seamless.
Yeah.
This has to be like, I'm going to literally pair, like the way that I'll reorganize it is I'll be like, okay, you got first verse, first chorus, and then second verse, second chorus. I'm going to put the first verse next to the second chorus. Or, put the two verses next to each other so that they just like lead right into each other.
Oh God. Yeah, that's not how structure works.
Because I know it isn't. But to me, I'm like, but you can't copyright us in that.
But I have more of a classical interpretation. Like, if you ever hear a classical, like a solo violinist playing Paganini, they're not 100% on the beat.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a push-pull
Yeah, yeah.
to it, and that's where the emotional context comes in. And this is where being a lead guitar player is more specific to that.
Well, yeah,
is
you
that
have to have a way better sense of that.
I'm not as beholden to the beat and more specific on the individual relationship between notes.
Yeah, you're floating above the beat. You're you're tied to it, but you are working above the beat. Whereas I am in the beat. I'm very much a nope. We got to keep this shit on schedule, people.
It's like when people offer you help you clean, but it's not the way. Yes,
Yeah,
that's 100%.
pretty much.
Exactly, Natalie.
But again, we'll see, because it will get to a point where we've got more than one channel. We're doing too many videos for us to feasibly edit in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
So we might have to hire an editor.
Yeah. My anxiety level sometimes is through the roof when I message people, especially if I message people I don't know very well. Sometimes I rewrite messages 10 times and need like an hour and a half to send it.
Yeah.
I completely agree. This is actually one of the reasons why the people that I do talk to more frequently, it's like we have to talk audio or video sooner or later along the line, because I'm just not going to be able to keep up a constant relationship or conversation with anybody who I'm only texting.
Yeah.
It's just because there's way too much time and ability to rewrite. Be like, oh, did I say this in a way that they'll hear it and understand it?
Yeah.
And the reality of the situation is, no. At this point, no matter how much time I try and write something correctly, sooner or later someone's gonna misinterpret it. They're gonna think of it in a way that I didn't mean it to be.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so hard to control.
No. You guys should have merch. I don't know if you already do. I'm totally broke, but that would be so cool. We don't have merch yet.
We will have merch in the future, but yeah, we definitely want to do some slightly more interesting individual ideas.
Yeah, thinking more of doing like an Odd Future kind of thing, where it's almost more like a fashion brand independent of any of the channel content itself.
So not in any way copying their style or ideas, just the business model of it being its own thing.
Pretty much,
100%, yeah.
If you watch the Finn McKenty video, Punk Rock MBA video on Odd Future, that's pretty much what I want to go for. Sure. Really good video, by the way. Criminally underrated.
Yeah.
It's actually his worst performing one.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I'm like...
Well, it's a video on Odd Future.
I know, but that's such a bummer, because it's so good. It's like my favorite video.
Yeah, sure, but you know what's up. Sam and Steph, hope you guys are doing well. I always feel calm when I'm watching your vids, especially as finals are around the corner for me. Love you guys. Keep doing what you do. Thank you so much.
Good luck with finals.
Yeah, good luck. Would you ever consider doing a live stream reaction? Probably not.
No.
It's pretty difficult to do in terms of the copyright of it, and also, like, our videos are edited for a reason.
Yeah. I don't like the raw reactions. Also, yeah, as you fucking put it to me once, it's the minimum amount of effort.
Yeah.
And it's just.
That's not even the only problem I have. It's real
it's a problem.
There's things we cut out for a reason. It was like, I didn't say this the way I wanted it to, and people are going to hear it this way when I meant it this way, and then it's just difficult. Totally opposite of you guys. Hold on. Totally the opposite of me.
100% text. No, I don't like texting.
Oh, you're only texting?
I don't like.
Okay,
cool.
Like texting. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I will if I have to, but I'm not fond of it.
Yeah. But you just don't like out of person conversation in general.
I don't like the ambiguous interpretation of the ambiguity of text.
Yeah.
That's why I'm actually a bit of a boomer, and I like calling people, because I get the tone, I get the inflections, so I can understand more of what's going on. Whereas when somebody misinterprets what I said, it stresses me the fuck out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Camden needs to go in 5. That's all good.
We're going
about 5.
Yeah. As a singer, the push and pull of timing makes sense, but it did require for years, so I have to actually learn time. Yeah, 100%. I would say that, honestly, lead guitar relates more closely to singing than any other instrument.
100%.
And I think one of the reasons I took up lead guitar in the first place is because I didn't know how to get singing lessons. I didn't know how to go to learn how to sing. I didn't know how to find the right teacher, anything like that. And I was like, well, I can't sing, so I'll play guitar. And I'm glad I did, because I learned so much as a guitar player, and I enjoy guitar so much, especially as a soloist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, again, it all ties into each other.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I was really happy that I started with drums, because it gave me such a solid foundation and rhythm that when I started trying to expand into singing and even piano playing, I did not have the same problem that pretty much everybody else had, which was timing.
Oh, God.
So it helped me learn the song quicker than everybody else,
Because you're not
even though they were they'd been like practicing piano for like a year longer than me,
Yeah.
but I picked stuff up faster
Because you have a foundation.
because I had a foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be the same. I would say for every single new thing you learn along the way, whatever skill set you're picking up, the more previous skill sets you've had in the past, the better you're going to be at the future ones, especially even just from a perspective of understanding how to learn more efficiently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ever since I've discovered tone indicators, I never want to use my voice again. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, fair.
I'm in customer support and have to be on the phone all day, happy as soon as I can text. That's fair. That makes sense.
Oh, when you're dealing with customers, that's a whole other deal. Just customer service in general. Just fucking.
Oh, Dark J just finished a 1-week ban because of text being easy to misinterpret. Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Dude, that happened to us too. Remember
Yeah.
we fucking kicked someone off the chat because
Yeah.
we thought they were being a dick. Turns out they were just making a joke.
Yeah, I realized pretty quickly that we'd made a mistake there.
Yeah.
But
Even so.
yeah, I'm glad that we got to catch up with that
Yes.
person
Glad we
later on.
We managed to apologize. We fixed it. So it's
Yeah.
all good. Okay, it looks like chat's slowing down and everything. So I reckon it's a good time to wrap up.
I definitely think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone a little, almost an hour longer than we were initially
Pretty
intended
well
to.
over time. This is probably going to get cut from the
Yeah.
final product.
I think
possibly.
in the long term, like we are still learning about how we're going to do this, but yeah, we do want it to be something that people can enjoy watching after the fact and not only during the thing. And while that's somewhat true of our old live streams, I feel like there's a very, very small percentage of people who would enjoy the less structured, more hangout version.
Yeah, you need to know what's already. You
Yeah.
need to pretty much already be a fan
Yeah.
in order to get in on that. So we wanted to make this more accessible to
Yeah.
a wider audience, bring in some new people who literally are coming for the topics that we're discussing and then stay because they like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to figure this out and get better at it as we go. But we wanted to just jump in, and obviously we're going to have to figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been with Sam and
we're not
Steph?
doing
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, all right. Well, yeah, I guess thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank
everybody.
you guys for turning up, especially for our very first one, because obviously we're still working on figuring out how to do this. But, you guys are the early bird?
Yeah, early bird.
The early adopters.
Yeah,
That's what I'm going
yeah.
for.
You are the OGs.
The OGs, yeah. So, hopefully you guys had fun with this. And, we do plan on doing this weekly, same time, same place. So we will see you next Monday morning for us, Sunday night for a decent portion of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right. Have a good one, guys.
Catch you guys later.
See you.
Love yous. Bye. And broadcast.